Chapter 2538. Oh. You can't handle it. Ziyu paused. As far as she could remember, House So was a very powerful family in Songshan, at least able to take care of everything in the underworld. This was also why Ziyu and Qin Shi didn't get harassed by boys, but Qin Xiaoba's arrival broke that balance. Yeah, Qin Xiaoba's father, Qin Bawang, is the temporary boss of the underworld, much bigger than us. Zhou Ruoming said, a little embarrassed. Miss Ziyu, I don't have a choice. They're too strong. Should we contact Boss Lin Yi? Ziyu frowned. To be honest, she didn't want to trouble Lin Yi with something as small as this. Lin Yi wasn't in Songshan right now, and it wasn't convenient for him to go back and forth. So she thought of Zihua. He was a big boss in Songshan, and she had his contact too. She just never used it. I'll ask Zihua, Ziyu said. If it wasn't necessary, she didn't want to trouble Lin Yi with something as small as this, as if she and Qin Shi had a lot of things to do. Alright, Zihua Bro's position is about the same as Qin Bawang. His words should be effective. Zhou Ruoming nodded. And so, Ziyu gave Zihua a call and told him what happened. Zihua didn't reject her, only saying that he needed to investigate first and that he'd get back to her later. In fact, Zihua didn't need to investigate. Since Ziyu said that, it was most likely true. There was no need to investigate. He just wanted to ask Qibing if he should help or not. Hello. Qibing had just recovered and was resting on the bed. He picked up Zihua's call weakly. Zihua, didn't I say that you don't need to call me if there's nothing important? You can take care of the business there. Zihua nodded. Zihua, I told you not to call me if there's nothing important. Master Bing, there's something I need your help with here. Zihua said quickly. Oh. What is it? You still need me? Qibing asked. Yes. It's like this, Ing Ziyu's being harassed by Qin Xiaoba, and she wants me to mediate. Zihua said carefully. Who is Ing Ziyu? Which one is Qin Xiaoba? Qibing paused. He couldn't recall the existence of these two people in his memory. Ing Ziyu is Lin Yi's god-sister, and Qin Xiaoba is the son of a temporary mafia boss. Zihua explained. Wait, what did you say? Ziyu is Lin Yi's god-sister? Qibing's eyes lit up when he heard Lin Yi's name. He sat up on the bed and asked, Are you sure? Yes, this is accurate. Zihua nodded. Lin Yi even took her out to get her hair done, treating her really well. He even had Zhou Ruoming look after her at school. Ha 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 ha. Pin Liang started laughing. This is a godsend, a godsend. What do you mean? Zihua didn't understand why Qibing was laughing all of a sudden. He could only test the waters. Master Bing, do you mean that we don't care? Let Qin Xiaoba harass Ing Ziyu and make things difficult for Lin Yi? Of course not. Qibing said quickly. Of course we will. But wait for my phone call, wait for my order, and I'll make that Qin Xiaoba scram. Alright, I got it. Zihua was confused. He didn't know what Qibing was so excited about, but since it was an order from Qibing, he would carry it out without holding back. He used to be Qibing's follower, and Qibing was now the heir of the hidden house Zhao. This meant that Zihua had to follow Qibing's footsteps even more closely. Qibing hung up and ran out of the house. This time, he was smarter. He didn't come alone, only bringing a follower, Zhao Qishu. He even brought a wheelchair with him, driving his car all the way to Donghai Engineering University. They entered the biology building and found Lin Yi's class. They knocked on the door, and Boss Bai opened it with a frown. He looked at Qibing, who was standing at the door. What do you want? Hello, teacher. I'm looking for Lin Yi, Qibing said politely. Oh, wait a second. Boss Bai's face softened a little when he heard that it was for Lin Yi. Lin Yi was a student with special privileges, so it wasn't a problem if he didn't listen in class. If it were any other student, Boss Bai wouldn't let them go unless it was an emergency. Lin Yi, someone's looking for you. Boss Bai said to Lin Yi after returning to the classroom. Someone's looking for me. Lin Yi paused, but quickly walked out of the classroom. He was even more confused when he saw Qibing standing in front of him. Why are you here again? Lin Yi boss, it's like this. I have something urgent to report to you. Qibing was afraid that Lin Yi would just leave and ignore him, so he quickly used an emergency to stop Lin Yi. What is it? Lin Yi was a little impatient, but he still asked. Ing Ziyu, she's in Songshan, and she's being harassed. Qibing didn't dare waste time. Harassed? How do you know? Lin Yi frowned. What's going on? Who's harassing her? Is there any trouble? Not at the moment. Qibing saw the frown on Lin Yi's face and knew that Lin Yi was worried about Ziyu. He felt that there was a chance. I got the news from Zihua, Lin Yi boss, do you need my help? Can I get Zihua to warn her? Heartwarming didn't do it. Lin Yi felt that this was a little strange. The son of the mafia boss, Heartwarming, can't do it yet. Qibing said. Only Zihua can do it. Of course, boss Lin Yi would be able to do it yourself, but I'm sure you don't have the time, right? Oh, so you're here to ask for a reward, right? Lin Yi nodded. Heh, it's not really asking for a reward. I'll help you deal with Ziyu, and you'll reward me by breaking my leg. How's that? Qibing looked at Lin Yi expectantly. Pfft. Lin Yi spat on Qibing's face and started coughing. Cough, cough, cough. You're not sick, are you? No, I'm fine, aren't I? I've recovered from all my injuries. Qibing said. Then why do you want to break your leg? Lin Yi asked curiously. That. Don't ask, I just want to break my leg. Qibing said. Chapter 2539. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. Although Lin Yi could go to Songshan himself, it was a little rushed and troublesome. It wasn't worth it for a small fry like him, so it was a good thing that Qibing could do it for him. But Qibing's request was too special. His reward was to break his legs. Anyone with a normal mind wouldn't make such a request. Unless he had some other special purpose, but what special purpose could Qibing have? Was breaking his legs good for him? Lin Yi couldn't think of anything, besides, Lin Yi didn't want to think about it anymore. Even if he didn't break Qibing's legs, Qibing would find a way to do it. Breaking Qibing's legs was as easy as lifting a finger. Great, I'll make the call now. Qibing was overjoyed. He picked up the phone and dialed Zihua's number, ordering excitedly, Zihua, go tell that little bastard to fuck off. Yes, Master Bing. Zihua didn't know why Qibing was so excited, but he nodded anyway. All right, I'll go now. Qibing hung up and waved his phone at Lin Yi proudly. It's done, shouldn't it be my reward? Oh. Lin Yi kicked Qibing's legs twice, and with two crisp cracking sounds, Qibing's legs were broken. Ha 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 ha, that's great. Qibing was in pain and happy at the same time. His legs were finally broken, and it was done so cleanly. K-15 quickly helped Qibing into the wheelchair, but Qibing couldn't stop laughing. Boss Lin Yi, you're too amazing. Your leg-breaking technique is unparalleled, fast, good, and thorough. It's godlike. Lin Yi was speechless at Qibing's compliments. Lin Yi boss, I'll definitely find you to break my legs again in the future. It feels so good, so good. Qibing said. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving, Lin Yi said to Qibing's incomparably brainless behavior. He didn't want to say anything else. Okay, thank you, Qibing said gratefully. Lin Yi shrugged and entered the classroom. Qibing, on the other hand, left Donghai Industry University in high spirits. K-15 didn't know the truth, and he didn't dare to ask. He was wondering if Master Bing had a problem with his leg, to think that someone had broken it. But he was so happy. What kind of train of thought was this? Sihua received Qibing's order and immediately went to talk to Qin Xiaoba. Qin Xiaoba didn't expect the famous Sihua to come to him on his first day in Songshan. Although he wasn't happy, he had to lower his head in Sihua's territory. Boss Li, what can I do for you? Qin Xiaoba was in the middle of chasing Ziyu when Sihua's men called him to a Mercedes-Benz at the school gates. Qin Xiaoba, how's your father? Sihua asked. Not bad. Thank you for your concern, Boss Li. Qin Xiaoba said politely, not knowing what Sihua was trying to say. Qin Xiaoba, this is Songshan, not a neighboring city. Go back. I'm just giving you a friendly reminder, don't cause trouble here. Sihua said. Boss Li, what do you mean? Qin Xiaoba's face changed. Can't I come to school here? That's not it, it's just that Ziyu has a brother, a tough guy. He asked me to tell you on his behalf. Sihua drew a clear line between himself and Qin Bawang so that it wouldn't affect his business dealings with him. Oh. Her brother. He's in the underworld too. Qin Xiaoba frowned. That's not it. But it was my boss who told me about this personally, so I hope young Master Qin can give me some face. Otherwise, it'll be hard for me. Sihua threatened faintly. You know that I'm just a spokesperson, everything is up to my boss, I understand. I'll go back now, Boss Li. Qin Xiaoba didn't want to, but he didn't dare go against Sihua's words. After all, this was Sihua's territory. It didn't matter if his father was Qin Bawang. Of course, he didn't want to give up just like that. If he couldn't do it openly, he'd have to do it in the dark. It seemed like Sihua was only doing this on someone else's behalf, so he wouldn't be paying attention to Ziyu's movements all the time. He just needed to wait for the commotion to die down and he'd make his move in the dark. Qin Xiaoba didn't think that Ziyu had any powerful backgrounds. Her brother probably knew the person behind Sihua and asked his grandpa to tell him. After all, Ziyu didn't look like a girl from a rich family, and everything she ate was normal. She went to a bad school, Fushan High. Haha, that's good. Sihua nodded. After leaving Sihua's car, Qin Xiaoba left Songshan on the same day. He wasn't happy about it, but he didn't show it. He didn't believe that Sihua would do the same thing next time, even if he did. Qin Xiaoba wasn't afraid of Sihua at all. He knew that Sihua's boss was the Hidden House Xiao, but his father, Qin Bawang, was also the Hidden House Zhuang. Who didn't have some kind of background these days? Especially someone like Qin Bawang, someone who could control an entire city's underworld business. If he didn't have a strong background, he'd be swallowed by other gangs a long time ago. But with a giant like the Hidden House Zhuang, all of them practitioners, which gang would be stupid enough to go against them? It was a one-sided death wish. Qin Xiaoba, on the other hand, was giving face to the Hidden House Xiao. They wouldn't cause trouble on their turf, but whether or not he would do anything to Ziyu depended on the Hidden House Zhuang's attitude. After Qin Xiaoba left Songshan, Lin Yi received a message from Qibing. Boss Lin Yi, Sihua has talked to Qin Xiaoba and told him to piss off, don't worry. I'm happy to be of service to you. I hope you won't reject me the next time I ask you to break your legs, thank you. Lin Yi was speechless as he read Qibing's message. He really couldn't understand why Qibing was so interested in a broken leg. Could it be that this guy had found some weird training method, similar to Zhang Naipeo? Shaking his head, Lin Yi went back to practicing, smelling Xinyan's fragrance. Lin Yi was racing against time, constantly improving his strength. It wasn't just for Xiao Xiao anymore, it was for himself. His enemies were getting stronger and stronger, and while most of the noble houses were basically following Lin Yi's lead, most of the hidden houses weren't on good terms with Lin Yi. Some were even enemies. Chapter 2548 _ School Bells Bodyguard Free Reading _ Chapter 2548 Chapter 2540 The reason why he couldn't practice alchemy was because of the ancient sections. The ancient sects didn't even need to be mentioned, so he had to get stronger as soon as possible to protect himself and his family. Lin Yi, come with me to the office. After the morning class, Boss Bai said to Lin Yi. Okay. Lin Yi quickly returned to reality from the space of the jade pendant and nodded. Under the envious gaze of Right Coiling Tiger, Lin Yi followed Boss Bai out of the classroom and walked in the direction of his office. Lin Yi is really lucky. He has the favor of a beauty and Boss Bai to guide him in alchemy. It's really infuriating. Right Coiling Tiger muttered with some dissatisfaction. These days, Lin Yi didn't get any new information from Boss Bai, so Coiling Tiger didn't make a move. But now he couldn't sit still. After hesitating for a moment, Coiling Tiger Yu still followed. Although he was more afraid of Lin Yi, he had to pay attention to the information related to improving the level of alchemy of the Yu family. Others may not know, but Coiling Tiger Yu was very clear. Boss Bai's alchemy skills back then, even if the masters of the entire Heavenly Elixir sect were added together, it would still be difficult to catch up. So even if he was afraid, Coiling Tiger Yu still had to follow. Lin Yi was now a master of the peak of the middle phase of the Earth class. Naturally, he could easily notice that someone was following him. But after seeing that it was Coiling Tiger Yu, he didn't care. Lin Yi went to Boss Bai's office several times before, and there was not a time when Coiling Tiger Yu didn't follow him. Lin Yi was already used to it. Little Yi, how's your alchemy skills these days? Has it improved? Boss Bai asked as he walked. Still the same. I can't change the temperature and intensity of the fire. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and said, maybe I really don't have the talent for alchemy. Is your body really lacking the wood attribute? Boss Bai frowned. He was grateful to Lin Yi and admired Lin Yi's medical skills. Therefore, he wanted Lin Yi to learn more things and go further on the path of medicine. How could he go further? Conventional medical skills were certainly not very attractive to Lin Yi. Only the art of alchemy, which was a higher level of medical skills, was also helpful to cultivators. However, Lin Yi had never been able to condense the alchemic fire skillfully, which made Boss Bai feel very regretful. That's not it. I can confirm that my body has the wood attribute. Previously, Lin Yi wasn't sure if he had the wood element in his body. After all, changing the element of alchemy fire at will was an uncertain factor in Lin Yi's eyes. What if it was the art of dragon mastery? However, after practicing the wood forest 1,000 transformations, Lin Yi was sure that he had the wood element in his body. Oh. Boss Bai paused for a moment and turned to look at Lin Yi. Then he shook his head and said, it's not surprising that you can condense the fire element and wood element alchemy fire. It doesn't mean that your body has this element. Just like alchemists who don't have the water attribute can also condense and catalyze the water element alchemy fire, this is only the transformation of the chant, it doesn't mean that your body really has this type of alchemy fire. No, Mr. Bai, what I mean is that I can use both the wood and fire attribute martial arts skills. Lin Yi shook his head and thought that his guess was right. Being able to transform alchemy fire had nothing to do with one's physique. However, at this moment, he said with certainty, so my body should have both the wood and fire attributes. Ah, this. Boss Bai's expression became even worse. His expression turned even uglier. After a long while, he finally said, "Could it be the legendary good-for-nothing?" Pfft, cough cough cough. After hearing Boss Bai's words, Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In any case, his cultivation speed was considered excellent. Without a master, he was not inferior to the disciples of the hidden families or even the ancient sections. How could he be called useless? Moreover, he could also imitate and create martial arts skills. Even if he wasn't a genius, he wasn't a useless wood, right? Most importantly, when the art of dragon mastery reaches the second level, he could become an existence similar to a blacksmith, and he would be a rare genius in the world. Lin Yi, I didn't mean that. Boss Bai saw that Lin Yi was embarrassed. He hurriedly explained, "Actually, what I meant was that some people's physiques are not suitable for alchemy. For example, I once knew a person, how should I put it? This person's body contains many different attributes, even surpassing the ordinary fire and wood attributes. It's not just 3 attributes, but more. This person's multiple attributes form a situation where they are mutually restraining each other. Although I can't be sure if this is the case for you, your body shouldn't be suitable to become an alchemist." "Oh. Isn't the more attributes the better? Why can't I become an alchemist?" Lin Yi's heart slightly moved, and he asked. "Actually, it's like this. An alchemist must have the 2 basic attributes of fire and wood. Fire is the body attribute necessary to condense all kinds of alchemy fire, and wood is a kind of wood's spiritual perception of the changes of the herbs in the alchemy furnace. If these 2 basic attributes have the water attribute, then it will have a restraint on the fire attribute, and water and fire are mutually exclusive." Boss Bai explained, "In this way, because of the water attribute, the fire attribute will be restrained, and can't change the temperature and intensity of the alchemy fire." "Ah. That's it." After hearing this, Lin Yi's eyes widened, and he finally understood. But at the same time, he was a little frustrated. "Mr. Bai, you are right. I still have the water attribute in my body, because I can also activate the water martial arts skills, sure enough." Boss Bai patted Lin Yi's shoulder and looked at Lin Yi with a bit of heartache. Having too many attributes is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. At the very least, it's a bad thing for alchemists. Because the current mantras for alchemy fire catalyzing and condensing can't change the situation. Although in theory, if there is a new mantra, this difficulty can be overcome, but there is not for the time being. There are too few examples like you. Lin Yi shrugged. Boss Bai's words were all for naught. However, if your body also has the metal attribute, you can become a blacksmith. In the world of blacksmiths, there is no such thing as mutual restriction. Boss Bai said, "I can be sure of this." "Oh." Lin Yi was slightly stunned. Did he have the metal attribute in his body? At present, Lin Yi was also not clear, because Lin Yi had not tried to activate the metal attribute martial arts skills, but when the second level of the art of dragon mastery was completed, it was certain that he could condense the space of the jade pendant. Chapter 2549 The Campus Belle's Bodyguard is Free. Chapter 2541. Did that mean that he was a blacksmith? It seemed that he was even more powerful than an alchemist. Although Lin Yi wasn't very sure, Lin Yi speculated that he should have the metal element. Otherwise, the method of condensing the jade pendant wouldn't have mentioned all the other prerequisites, and that was the completion of the second level of the art of dragon mastery. In other words, those who could practice the art of dragon mastery must have the metal, wood, and fire elements in their bodies. It's nothing. I had a disciple of an old friend who had this element. He could become a blacksmith, not an alchemist. Boss Bai didn't say much, obviously unwilling to talk about the past. Lin Yi nodded and didn't ask any more. What a pity, but it's fine. I'll help you collect some information on blacksmiths. Your body type is rare even in 1,000 years. If you really have the metal element, then becoming a blacksmith won't be a dream. By then, you'll be even more powerful than an alchemist. Boss Bai comforted him. Thank you, Mr. Bai. Lin Yi was really touched after listening to Boss Bai's words. He and Boss Bai were just an ordinary teacher and student, and Boss Bai's kindness to him originated from the time when he saved him. But now, the favor was almost returned, and Boss Bai was still tirelessly helping him solve his problems. No need to be so polite. I'm your teacher, isn't this what I should do? Boss Bai smiled and said, how about it, do you want to be my disciple now? Mr. Bai, you're my teacher now. This is actually the same as my previous master. A teacher for a day is a father for life. I'm already your disciple, what else is there to doubt? Lin Yi smiled and said, it's just that I'll be Boss Bai's disciple in the future. I don't want to lose face for you. Okay, I'm very happy today. Boss Bai nodded and said, in fact, you also know that this kind of teacher and student relationship is still different from a real teacher and disciple relationship. For some people, although I'm a teacher in their school, I won't allow them to use my name after they graduate. I understand. Lin Yi thought to himself, are you talking about the right coiling tiger? Originally, I called you here this time because I wanted to give you something really good. Some of the things that my master taught me years ago, I wanted to see if you could be inspired by them, but now it seems that they are not very useful. Boss Bai sighed and said with some disappointment. It's useful, of course it's useful. Lin Yi quickly said. Useful? Don't tell me you're going to use it to trade with right coiling tiger. Boss Bai laughed, but Lil Yi, I'm telling you, the thing this time is indeed good stuff. It's a pity to give it to right coiling tiger, but if you really want to trade with him, then I can give it to you. But this is what my master taught me back then. When Boss Bai said this, his voice suddenly became a lot louder. Previously, the two people were communicating in a low voice, and with right coiling tiger's distance and hearing, he couldn't hear it at all. But Boss Bai's words were heard clearly by right coiling tiger. Lin Yi suddenly blushed. He really didn't mean that. He wanted to give Han Jingjing a reference and see if he could learn something new from it. As for exchanging it to right coiling tiger, it would depend on the real value of this information. If it was really that kind of useful and precious information, Lin Yi naturally wouldn't give it to right coiling tiger. Right coiling tiger stood behind the two people not far away. Previously, he was suffering from his poor hearing and couldn't hear anything clearly. Suddenly, Boss Bai's words came into his ears like a bolt from the blue, causing right coiling tiger's ears to prick up. It was really good stuff. Or something that Boss Bai's master taught him back then. Wasn't this exactly what the right family needed to hide? This time, he listened carefully and couldn't make a mistake. Right coiling tiger was overjoyed. He had to get this information. Thinking of this, right coiling tiger also slowed down. In order not to let Lin Yi and Boss Bai suspect, he deliberately slowed down and didn't follow too closely. After all, he already knew that Lin Yi would get a super good information. Right coiling tiger only needed to be prepared to negotiate with Lin Yi to exchange the information back. I just said it casually. Since the information has been given to you, I won't say anything if you want to exchange it for some benefits that are beneficial to you. Boss Bai laughed. He really took good care of Lin Yi. Well, can this really be exchanged for right coiling tiger? Lin Yi asked with some uncertainty. Actually, it can. Boss Bai said, this is something that my master left me. The information inside is actually not particularly important. Anyway, you can make your own decision. Thank you, Teacher Bai. Lin Yi said gratefully. Hee, this is nothing. The most important thing is an alchemist's notes that I summarized and perfected myself. This alchemist's notes, you'd better not give it away. Boss Bai said, I will give it to you next time. That is not necessary. I can't become an alchemist. Lin Yi said with some embarrassment. You can't, but can't Han Jingjing? Boss Bai smiled. Teacher Bai, you know all about it. Lin Yi was shocked and looked at Boss Bai with some surprise. He didn't expect Boss Bai to already know about Han Jingjing. Didn't you give all the things that you exchanged with Right Coiling Tiger to her? Boss Bai smiled slightly. Although I don't know what your relationship with her is, it seems that she should be very close to you. If she can become an alchemist, my support for you will not be in vain. Han Jingjing is indeed an alchemist. Lin Yi nodded. Regarding this, since Boss Bai had already seen through it, and Boss Bai had given him such support, Lin Yi was embarrassed to hide anything. Now, can she successfully refine a first-grade elixir? Boss Bai nodded and asked. Jingjing can now refine second-grade elixir with 90% success rate. Lin Yi said 90%, that's a very high success rate. What? You said second-grade elixir. Boss Bai widened his eyes and looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. You are not lying to me. She really can have 90% success rate in refining second-grade elixir. Yes. Lin Yi nodded and said with a bitter smile, Boss Bai, do I need to lie to you? Second grade, 90% success rate. Boss Bai took a deep breath. What a young hero. Chapter 2542. His own disciple only had an 80% chance of successfully refining a first-grade elixir and a 30% chance of successfully refining a second-grade elixir. This was under the condition that his disciple was extremely talented, and it was also the result of his careful teaching. But this Han Jingjing, who came out of nowhere, had a 90% chance of successfully making a second-level elixir in just a few months, under the guidance of a half-baked elixir refiner like Lin Yi. What did that mean? Of course, that was the result of Lin Yi's reservation. After all, it was too shocking that Han Jingjing could successfully refine a second-grade elixir and mass-produce it. Hee. Lin Yi just smiled. Can you let her be my disciple? Boss Bai was a little tempted. Well, I'm afraid. Lin Yi hesitated and didn't know how to explain. It was not that he didn't want Han Jingjing to be his disciple, but it was not very useful for a scientific alchemist like Han Jingjing. What? Do you want to keep it to yourself? Seeing Lin Yi's look, Boss Bai thought that Lin Yi was reluctant to let her go, so he said with a smile, I'm just helping you to train a helper. I already have a disciple, so I won't compete with you for her. No. Lin Yi shook his head and decided to tell the truth. He said, Mr. Bai, Jingjing's situation is a little special. She has the fire attribute in her body, but not the wood attribute, so your practical operation is not very useful for her. Oh? Boss Bai was really shocked this time. Alchemists lack the wood attribute. How is that possible? How can such a person become an alchemist? Not to mention refining elixirs, it would be good enough if the furnace doesn't explode. So, Boss Bai lost his voice and said, how is that possible? Jingjing uses a complicated method of exploration and calculation to get some data. She's the only one who can use this method, and it's a unique one. It's impossible for anyone to teach her, and it's not realistic for her to learn it. Lin Yi didn't go into too much detail, just giving a general overview. I see. Boss Bai was deep in thought. Although what Lin Yi said was theoretically feasible, it was actually very difficult and unrealistic. However, Lin Yi certainly wouldn't lie, which meant that it was all true. There was only one possibility, and that was that Han Jingjing was a genius in mathematics, physics, and chemistry. At the very least, she had the intelligence of a scientist, which was why she was able to calculate the complicated chemical and physical changes in the furnace, as well as the time, temperature, and intensity of the fire. Boss Bai used to be a successful alchemist, so he understood the principle after what Lin Yi said. It was just that this seemed a little unimaginable to him. It was not impossible, but the difficulty was too high. It's not impossible, but it's too difficult. Boss Bai shook his head and said with a bitter smile, "This alchemy method is theoretically feasible, but it's the first time I've heard of it." I was also shocked at the time. Lin Yi smiled. "But little Yi, don't tell anyone else about this." Boss Bai's face suddenly returned to a serious expression, especially don't let the Hidden Yu family and the Heavenly Elixir sect know. Otherwise, it may bring an unexpected disaster to Han Jingjing. At least, before you have the qualifications to look down on all the ancient sects, you can't reveal this news. Teacher Bai, I understand. I'm only telling you. Lin Yi knew the stakes and nodded. I think I shouldn't hide it from you since you treat me so well, but to others, yeah, I was thinking too much. Kid, you're even more shrewd than the little fox. You played Yu Coiling Tiger like a fiddle, and he took out all the good stuff hidden in the Yu family to trade with you. Boss Bai smiled in relief. Yeah, so I'm going to take this information and exchange it with Yu Coiling Tiger for some materials for third-level elixirs. Lin Yi said. Okay. Boss Bai nodded firmly this time. This information is useless. This is all I can support you. I don't have materials for third-level elixirs, but I can find some materials for second-level elixirs for you. Oh? Mr. Bai, you have materials for second-level elixirs? Lin Yi suddenly had a feeling that he could wear out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find what he was looking for without any effort. Why didn't he think that Boss Bai had materials for second-level elixirs? If he had known earlier, Lin Yi would have gotten some materials from Boss Bai. Why did he have to exchange with Yu Coiling Tiger? I do have some, but you know that these materials are very expensive. It's not that I'm stingy, but I'm really not rich. I have an apprentice at home, so I have to use them sparingly. Boss Bai looked at Lin Yi apologetically and said. These materials can be bought. Lin Yi was slightly dazed. Of course. Boss Bai nodded and said, the Heavenly Elixir sect sells these common materials, and I've planted some myself, but not a lot. Also, teaching apprentices wastes a lot of materials. Well, how about I buy them from you? Lin Yi asked. The Cultivator Trading Association hadn't given Lin Yi a definite message, so Lin Yi and Han Jingjing were basically in a stagnant state these days without materials to make elixirs. Yes, but not for now. The Heavenly Elixir sect will only sell medicinal materials at the next Cultivator Trading Convention, Boss Bai said. Cultivator Trading Convention. Hearing this somewhat familiar name, Lin Yi thought of something. Is it held by the Cultivator Trading Association? That's right, it was organized by the Cultivator Trade Association. Boss Bai nodded. The Cultivator Trading Association also sells these medicinal materials, but the quality is better and the price is higher, so the medicinal materials of the Heavenly Elixir sect are generally more popular. Other families don't have alchemists. Why do they buy these materials? Lin Yi was a bit puzzled. It was understandable if Boss Bai bought the materials of the Heavenly Elixir sect instead of the Cultivator Trading Association. Anyway, it didn't matter if the materials were good or bad for his apprentice, and the elixirs that were made were of the same quality. But why did other people buy these materials? These materials are actually not only used to make elixirs, but also to make medicines. Boss Bai said, Little Yi, you are really confused. In fact, even if these medicinal materials are not made into elixirs, they can be mixed together to make ordinary medicines. Most of them will have corresponding effects, but the effects will be weakened a lot. Just like the Dr. Kang's golden creation medicine on the market. Think about it. How similar are the ingredients of it to the circulation pill? At least 7 or 8 kinds of medicinal materials are the ingredients of the circulation pill, right? Latest update, please. Chapter 2543. Oh. Lin Yi paused and nodded. Now that you mention it, that does seem to be the case. Even the bone cleansing pill, after simplifying the ingredients, could become the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine couldn't be compared. The effects were similar, but Lin Yi had completely changed it. That's why they say that you don't have to worry about selling the good stuff. Plus, most of the people who come to this kind of trade fair are ancient levels. It's not surprising for ancient sects and ancient families to have a second-level refiner. They also need to buy large amounts of ingredients to train their skills, Bo explained. I see, can't you just say that it's an ancient-level trade fair? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. This was easy to understand, there were refiners in the Ice Palace. Ha, I thought you weren't familiar with the ancient level. Bo smiled. The two entered Bo's office side by side, and the same way, Bo handed Lin Yi a stack of documents and didn't say anything else. Thank you, Master Bai, I'll be going now. Lin Yi nodded, but he was hesitating. Should he return the favor and show the notes he got from Zhang Liju's tomb to Bo? Logically speaking, Bo was Zhang Liju's disciple, and it wasn't against the rules for him to show Bo his notes. To put it bluntly, Lin Yi was just showing him something that belonged to Bo. Alright, go. Bo nodded and said, bring Jing Jing to my house when you're free. If you have any problems, tell her to come find me. Alright, Lin Yi knew that Bo had accepted Han Jingjing as his student. After leaving Bo's office, Lin Yi saw a right coiling tiger, who was standing at the end of the hallway, pretending to be reading the wall posters. He smiled and greeted Lin Yi. Isn't this Lin Yi classmate? Did Teacher Bai give you something good again? Yes, but I don't want to trade with you. Lin Yi said straightforwardly, okay, get out of the way. Quack. Right coiling tiger didn't expect Lin Yi to be so direct this time, which was different from the previous 2 times. But this time, because right coiling tiger heard Boss Bai's words, he was very confident in the information in Lin Yi's hands. And seeing that Lin Yi didn't play hard to get this time, but directly and decisively admitted that it was good material and refused to exchange, it also proved this point. Wait. Right coiling tiger hurriedly stopped Lin Yi and said, alright, Lin Yi, since you're so direct, I won't play dumb. I also know that the thing in your hand is Boss Bai's Master's Alchemy notes, right? So what if I am? Lin Yi said coldly, I don't want to give it to you this time. Although I admit that I played hard to get you twice before, this time, I don't want to exchange with you at all, so just give up. There's no need to say anything more. Don't. Right coiling tiger said, Lin Yi, don't be so absolute. Everything has its value. You rejected me because you think I can't give you a price that can move you, but I can tell you clearly that I can. You can. Lin Yi shook his head. I don't think you can, and I don't want to exchange with you. If you don't want to be beaten, then get out of the way. In Teacher Bai's place, I don't want to use force. This. Right coiling tiger didn't expect Lin Yi to be so stubborn. It seemed that he had made up his mind not to communicate with him. He suddenly became a little anxious. This time, it was a real good thing. Right coiling tiger absolutely didn't want to miss it. He had already made 2 mistakes, and this time, he clearly knew that the thing in Lin Yi's hand was good, but Lin Yi didn't want to exchange with him, which made him feel a little helpless. I still have to go eat. Lin Yi walked around Right Coiling Tiger and strode forward. Lin Yi, what do you need? Just say it. Isn't business just bargaining? Right Coiling Tiger said, tell me what you want. You have to give me a chance, right? Oh, okay, I want the chi gathering pill. Do you have it? Lin Yi asked. Chi gathering pill. Right Coiling Tiger was stunned, and then his face darkened. How could he have this thing in his house? Chi gathering pill was a third-grade medicinal pill. Not to mention that the refining materials were rare, it was also very difficult to refine. Even if the Heavenly Elixir sect could refine it, they would not refine this kind of thing. On the one hand, third-grade medicinal pills could not be refined at any time. Even the ancestor of the Heavenly Elixir sect had to think twice before refining a third-grade medicinal pill. He had to consider whether it was worth refining. Because refining a third-grade medicinal pill, whether it was successful or not, required a lot of physical strength and true chi. It was almost impossible to recover in half a year or even a year. During this period, they could not refine other medicinal pills. Therefore, even if a third-grade medicinal pill could be sold for a lot of money, it was priceless. The ancestor of the Heavenly Elixir sect would not refine it unless it was necessary. For example, the Flaming Sun Dan refined for Kong Ming Ming was a last resort, so the ancestor of the Heavenly Elixir sect would refine it. In the Heavenly Elixir sect, as a reward for the winner of the trial, some of the third-grade medicinal pills were accumulated by the Heavenly Elixir sect for generations, some were given by that place, and some were found in ancient ruins. Very few of the Heavenly Elixir sect's ancestor refined it himself. This was also the reason why Bingtang wanted to refine a third-grade medicinal pill, but she still didn't succeed despite begging her grandpa and grandma. Lin Yi, aren't you making things difficult for me? You know it's impossible. Not to mention my family, even the Heavenly Elixir sect doesn't have it. Right Coiling Tiger smiled bitterly as he chased Lin Yi. If you don't have it, then forget it. I don't lack anything now. I just need a chi gathering pill to break through to heaven stage. Lin Yi said, if you have it, then I can consider it. If not, then forget it. Let's talk about other things, okay? When Right Coiling Tiger heard that Lin Yi wanted to break through to heaven stage, his heart suddenly trembled. He cursed in his heart. Motherfucker, you're only at the peak of Earth stage, middle stage now, and you can instantly kill heaven stage, early stage and heaven stage, early stage, peak, early stage. If you break through to heaven stage, will you let people live? Will you be invincible under the heavenly Tao? But this thought was just a thought. What he wanted the most now was the material in Lin Yi's hands. No matter what, he had to get it. Kill you. Lin Yi looked back at Right Coiling Tiger. Right Coiling Tiger's face was a little twisted. He hesitated for a moment but still didn't follow what to do. After Lin Yi left, Right Coiling Tiger furrowed his brows and started thinking. Latest update, please. Chapter 2544. However, after thinking for a long time, Panhu Right didn't have a good idea, so he called Yellow Hair, Purple Hair, and Zhaolong. The four of them went to a restaurant room. Panhu Right wanted to discuss the latest strategy with them. There was strength in numbers. Master Panhu, I saw you leave with Lin Yi. Are you okay? Zhaolong asked, concerned. I'm fine. Panhu Right shook his head. As Boss Bai's student, Lin Yi only dares to threaten me. He wouldn't dare do anything to me. Zhaolong nodded. He used to be Boss Bai's student, so he naturally knew about this rule. Boss Bai hated fights between students to an incomprehensible degree. He couldn't tolerate fights between students, and if anyone broke the rule, then sorry, they'd have to get the fuck out of here. Then, Master Ponhu, what did you call us here for? Yellow Hair asked. He didn't think that Ponhu Right would invite them for a meal for no reason. In this period of time, both Ponhu Right and Xiaolong were very low-key. After they came to school, they rarely left the school gates, and usually had lunch in the school cafeteria. There is indeed something. Ponhu Right nodded. Boss Bai gave Lin Yi a list of refiners, and I wanted to exchange it with him, but Lin Yi didn't budge this time. No matter what I said, he wouldn't agree. He told me that he wanted chi gathering pills, and he wouldn't exchange without them. Isn't he purposely making things difficult for me? Master Ponhu, are you sure that the information is good? Yellow Hair knew that Ponhu Right had suffered a few times before, so he wanted to remind him to be careful and not get tricked. I'm very sure this time. Ponhu Right said. This time, Boss Bai said it himself. This information was given to him by his master, and even Lin Yi admitted it. Oh. Could it be that Lin Yi is playing hard to get? Purple Hair thought about it and said, didn't he do this a few times before? I thought the same thing before. Lin Yi might be playing hard to get, but when he said he wanted a chi gathering pill from me, I'm afraid he's not playing hard to get. Right Coiling Tiger shook his head, rejecting this suggestion. If that's the case. Purple Hair hesitated for a moment before nodding his head and saying, that's true. If he wanted to play hard to get, he wouldn't have said it so resolutely. Yeah, it's really troublesome. Kong bro, you're a professor, you're wise and resourceful. Do you have any good suggestions? Ponhu Right turned to Xiaolong. My suggestion. Xiaolong sighed. Ponhu Right's flattery made him feel good. He was indeed the one with the highest degree out of all of them. I feel that you should start with Han Jingjing. Xiaolong said after some thought. Oh. Han Jingjing. Ponhu Right paused for a moment, then his eyes lit up as he thought of something. Whether it was the cauldron or the ingredients he gave to Lin Yi, they were all given to Han Jingjing by Lin Yi. This meant that Han Jingjing was the ultimate beneficiary. Since Lin Yi didn't want to trade, then he'd look for Han Jingjing. At that time, whatever Han Jingjing needed, as long as he could give it to her, Lin Yi would definitely help Han Jingjing trade for it. One had to admit that Xiaolong's idea was really a good one. It could turn the situation around. But, I suggest that you don't ask directly. You can first analyze and predict what Han Jingjing needs the most right now. Take this thing and show it to Han Jingjing, say something to incite her. It'd be best if Han Jingjing would take the initiative to ask for it. That way, you'd have the initiative, and it'd be easier to negotiate. Otherwise, if you let Han Jingjing name a price, she might ask for an exorbitant price and scam you. Xiaolong reminded. You're right, big bro Kong. You're a professor after all. Ponhu Right nodded, overjoyed. Alright, I'll ask for leave this afternoon and go back to the hidden house you. I'll discuss with Uncle and Grandpa what Han Jingjing needs the most right now, and I'll get some to show off in front of her. Ponhu Right made up his mind and went to ask for leave from Boss Bai. He didn't dare leave without asking for leave anymore. He'd almost been scolded last time. Lin Yi, on the other hand, took the information Boss Bai gave him and went to find Han Jingjing. Lin Yi went to Boss Bai's place, and Han Jingjing and Xinyan didn't eat at the cafeteria. They bought 3 boxes of food and went back to the classroom, waiting for Lin Yi to come back. Lin Yi, I've talked to Yao Yao and Shu. You're going to Professor Bai's office. We bought the food, so we won't be going to the cafeteria, Xinyan said when she saw Lin Yi walk in. Alright, you two didn't eat first. Lin Yi said as he looked at the 3-box lunches on the table. None of them had been touched. No, we're not in a hurry. We'll wait for you, Xinyan said. Then let's eat now. Lin Yi walked over and handed the information to Han Jingjing. Jingjing, read this while you eat. It's left behind by Professor Bai Shifu. See if there's anything you can learn from it. Okay. Han Jingjing took the information and started reading. After the 3 of them finished lunch, Han Jingjing also finished reading the information. She shook her head and said to Lin Yi, Brother Lin Yi, this information is in the information you gave me, and it's much more complete than this. This is only a small part, and it's incomplete. Although some places have been filled in, it's obviously far from the other one. Oh. In other words, this information isn't very useful. Lin Yi asked. Not really, Han Jingjing said truthfully. Okay, I understand. Lin Yi nodded. If Right Coiling Tiger asks you, just say that this information is very good and very useful. If he asks you what you want to exchange, don't say anything. If he lists the conditions, just stay silent or ask me. And, Jingjing understands. Han Jingjing nodded. Right Coiling Tiger hurriedly returned to the hidden house of Yu and locked himself in a secret room with his uncle Right Jintian and elder Yu. They held a family meeting. Coiling Tiger, you're saying that this time, the information Boss Bai gave to Lin Yi was indeed left behind by his Shifu? There's no mistake. Right Jintian asked. That's right, uncle. There's no mistake this time. Boss Bai said it himself. I heard it clearly, and even Lin Yi admitted it. Right Coiling Tiger said as he told his uncle and grandfather about Lin Yi's firm refusal to exchange. Update as soon as possible. Chapter 2545. According to what you said, it might really be something good. Yu Xintian nodded and said, Father, what do you think? If Lin Yi agrees to the exchange, you can let Coiling Tiger take a look and take a photo of the first page and send it back to the family. I'll check it myself and see if this information is important or not. Old Yu said, if it's important, then you have to get it at all costs, no matter how much you have to pay. If it's dispensable, then just pay whatever you want. If Lin Yi doesn't want to exchange, then he doesn't want to exchange. If it's worthless, then forget it. That's fine, but Lin Yi. Can you let me see it? Yu Coiling Tiger asked hesitantly. This depends on your ability. Old Yu said, Coiling Tiger, this is also an experience for you. If you do well, I'm prepared to support you to become the first elder of the family. If you can't even do such a small thing, how can you talk about becoming the first elder? Ah. Yu Coiling Tiger was shocked and looked at his grandfather in shock. He didn't expect his grandfather to support him to become the first elder of the family. That was an existence second only to the head of the family. Although he didn't care much about the family's affairs and focused on alchemy, even the head of the family had to be respectful. The current first elder of the House of Yu was his grandfather's younger brother, which was Yu Coiling Tiger's second grandfather. He was a level 2 alchemist, and even his grandfather had to be polite when he saw him. His uncle was even more subservient, and Yu Coiling Tiger couldn't even see him. Yu Xintian's expression changed slightly. His second grandfather had never married in his life, so naturally, he had no children. So, the position of the first elder was destined to be chosen from his grandfather's bloodline. Yu Xintian was the heir of the family, and his son was also raised as the head of the House of Yu. The position of the first elder was also very important, but Yu Xintian didn't expect his father to raise Yu Coiling Tiger as the heir. Originally, Yu Xintian thought that it would be good enough for Yu Coiling Hu to become an ordinary elder. He never imagined that he would become the clan's first elder. However, at this time, if Yu Ponhu really obtained something that was beneficial to the development of the Yu family, then he would become the successor of the Great Elder. Especially since he was on good terms with Kong Ming Ming. Once Kong Ming Ming became the elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect, then Yu Ponhu would not only become the Great Elder of the Yu family, but also the young master of the Yu family. Thinking up to this point, Yu Xintian decided to let Yu Coiling hold the position of Great Elder firmly and not covet the position of young master. Hence, he hurriedly nodded and said, "That's right, Coiling Hu. You must cherish this opportunity. If you can become the Great Elder, you'll be able to better assist your brother, Yu Coiling Long. The two of you will lead the Yu family to glory. I will do my best." Right now, Yu Coiling Tiger didn't have any thoughts of replacing him. The position of First Elder was enough to excite him. He wasn't the kind of person with ambition. "Grandpa, what do you think about me taking a second-grade cauldron? If Han Jingjing learns alchemy, this second-grade cauldron is a consumable item and can be easily damaged." "That's fine. If you're not a skilled alchemist, it's easy to damage the cauldron. You can take another second-grade cauldron, but I'm afraid a second-grade cauldron alone isn't very attractive, right?" Old Yu said. "Oh, but we don't have an extra third-grade cauldron. Currently, we only have a second-grade cauldron." Yu Coiling Hu said. "Indeed, we don't have a third-grade cauldron, but we still have some casting materials for a third-grade cauldron. See if you can trick Lin Yi and Han Jingjing into giving them a set of materials and trick them into forging their own third-grade cauldron." Old Yu thought about it and asked. "That's fine too." Yu Coiling Tiger rubbed his chin and nodded. Previously, he had tricked Lin Yi and exchanged a cracked cauldron as a treasure. This time, he didn't know if Lin Yi would fall for it. In order to make it seem real, you can give him some materials for a third-grade elixir. This way, he won't suspect that a third-grade cauldron can never be forged. Yu Xintian reminded. "That's right. I'll give it a try. First, I'll prepare these things and then give them to Lin Yi and Han Jingjing one by one. Then, we'll see if they'll be tempted." Yu Coiling Tiger nodded. Lin Yi was in school when he received a call from Songshan's orphanage. However, it wasn't Yu Xiaoke who called, but Xiao Ken. "Lin Yi bro, Xiaoke sis is in some trouble," Xiao Ken said. "Oh. Trouble? What kind of trouble?" Lin Yi's heart tightened as he quickly asked. "It's not a big problem. It's just that the Swiss franc that you gave to Sister Xiaoke can't exchange it." Xiao Ken said, "These few days, Sister Xiaoke has been running around with this matter, but she hasn't found a suitable channel. The black market's handling fee is too high. Sister Xiaoke is furious." "Oh, that's it." Lin Yi slapped his forehead in realization. He'd given all the Swiss francs to Xiaoke, but he'd neglected one problem. If Xiaoke were to exchange them through the proper channels, it'd be troublesome. The amount was too huge, and she couldn't even explain the source of the money. She didn't go to Fatty Lai. "No, CEO Lai's company said that they're discussing a big business deal, and CEO Lai went abroad," Xiao Ken said. "Fatty Lai went abroad." Lin Yi paused. He hadn't interfered with the company's business for a long time, and he didn't know how it was progressing. But from what Xiao Ken said, it seemed like the company was doing pretty well, even expanding its business overseas. "All right, I'll go there myself later." Lin Yi had wanted Yu Xiaoke to look for Pengzhan. This sort of foreign currency exchange wasn't something that other people could do, but Pengzhan was a local businessman, and he had deep connections with the banks. But Lin Yi remembered that Yu Xiaoke and Pengzhan weren't close, and Lin Yi actually wanted to go to Songshan to see Ziyu and Qin Shi. He hadn't seen them in a long time, and he wondered how they were doing. From the fact that Ziyu didn't look for him when she was in trouble, Lin Yi felt like he didn't care about them anymore, and so Lin Yi decided to go see them himself. Chapter 2546. Lin Yi asked for a day off from Boss Bai in the afternoon and drove to Songshan. At this time, Yu Ponhu just happened to return to school from the Hidden Yu family with some good stuff. His car brushed past Lin Yi's car, but Yu Ponhu wasn't good at observing, so he didn't notice it at all. Instead, Lin Yi saw Yu Ponhu in the sports car. What was this guy doing in such a hurry? Lin Yi secretly guessed, did he bring good stuff for him and Han Jingjing again? It had to be said, the person who understood Yu Ponhu the most was actually Lin Yi. Yu Ponhu returned to class, and the first thing he did was look at Lin Yi's seat, but he didn't see anything. Where's Lin Yi? Yu Ponhu asked in a daze. Master Yu, I heard he had something to do in the afternoon, so he asked for a day off. Purple Hair didn't go back with Yu Ponhu, he stayed in school. Asked for a day off. Fuck. Yu Ponhu felt like he punched cotton. He happily brought a bunch of good stuff and was about to show off, but he didn't expect Lin Yi to leave. But he thought about it again, Lin Yi leaving wasn't a big deal. He wanted to show off in front of Han Jingjing anyway, and without Lin Yi, it would be easier to show off. Han Jingjing shouldn't be as sly as Lin Yi, so it should be easier to trick her, right? Thinking about this, Yu Ponhu took out the second-grade medicine cauldron from before, walked to Han Jingjing, and sat down beside her. Han Jingjing was currently studying the alchemist notes that Boss Bai's master gave her. Although most of the content appeared in the alchemist notes that Lin Yi brought back from the ancient tomb, Han Jingjing didn't have anything else to do right now, so she started reading from the beginning when she was bored. Seeing Right Coiling Tiger walking over, Han Jingjing quickly put away the alchemist's notes, then picked up a school medical book and flipped through it. Yu Coiling Tiger immediately rolled his eyes. He didn't expect Han Jingjing to be so vigilant. She put away the documents the moment he walked over, which made Yu Coiling Tiger angry and helpless. Han Jingjing, why are you so hardworking? Are you studying during your lunch break? Right Coiling Tiger asked as he spun the cauldron in his hand. Yes, Jingjing has to study hard and help big brother Lin Yi in the future, Han Jingjing replied without raising her head. Pfft, fuck. When Right Coiling Tiger heard Han Jingjing's words, he felt very aggrieved. He thought to himself, what's so good about Lin Yi? Why were all these girls so dead set on him? What's wrong with you? Han Jingjing raised her head and looked strangely at the reddened Right Coiling Tiger. It's nothing. Right Coiling Tiger laughed dryly. Hey, Jingjing, what were you looking at earlier? Can I have a look? No. Han Jingjing rejected decisively. Don't. Didn't Teacher Bai always say that students should help each other? I want to see the documents in your hands. You should let me see them, right? Right Coiling Tiger used Boss Bai's name to say something. Helping each other is not forcing each other. If I let you do a striptease in the classroom, would you agree? Han Jingjing's eyes flashed with a sharp glint as she spoke indifferently. Ugh. Right Coiling Tiger was speechless. If you want me to help you with something related to studying, I can naturally help you. For example, I can borrow your textbooks, Han Jingjing said. Forget it, I have them too. Right Coiling Tiger was a little puzzled. This Han Jingjing usually looked dumb, why was she so quick-witted? She didn't seem to be easy to fool. This girl was probably just acting cute in front of Lin Yi, similar to Yushu. It seemed like it wasn't easy to fool her. Oh. Han Jingjing nodded and ignored him, continuing to look at the textbooks in front of her. Right Coiling Tiger was a little depressed. In order to attract Han Jingjing's attention, he began to play with the second-grade cauldron in his hands. 3 circles to the left, 3 circles to the right. This was a very easy thing for an alchemist like Right Coiling Tiger. It was even easier than performing acrobatics in a circus. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the second-grade cauldron spun rapidly in Right Coiling Tiger's hands, making all kinds of difficult moves. However, after playing for a long time, all the eyes of the students in the class were attracted to him. Most of them were envious and shocked. They didn't expect Right Coiling Tiger to be so good at cauldrons. Only Han Jingjing continued to turn a deaf ear, quietly looking at the textbooks in front of her. Right Coiling Tiger wanted to attract Han Jingjing's attention, but Han Jingjing didn't even look at him. Even if the others were shocked to death, it had nothing to do with Right Coiling Tiger. Right Coiling Tiger was a little helpless. He could only put the cauldron on the desk, coughed twice, and said to Han Jingjing, "Jingjing, did you use the second-grade cauldron I gave you last time?" "Oh, I used it. It's pretty good. Thank you." Han Jingjing replied indifferently. This second-grade cauldron, for beginners, is very easy to break. During practice, if you don't control the temperature and the intensity of the fire well, it might explode. Right Coiling Tiger said up to this point and asked, "Your cauldron isn't broken, right?" "It's not broken. It's quite sturdy," Han Jingjing said without raising her head. "Oh. Then it's not broken. Actually, you should prepare another cauldron just in case. If it explodes, you have a replacement," Right Coiling Tiger said. "You mean, you're going to give me another one?" Han Jingjing finally raised her head and looked at the second-grade cauldron that Right Coiling Tiger had placed on the table. "This. Of course, I can't give it to you for free, but we can exchange." Right Coiling Tiger saw that Han Jingjing had finally been led to the main topic by him and was immediately overjoyed. "Oh, then forget it. Mine isn't broken yet. I won't exchange it for now." Han Jingjing lowered her head again. This made Right Coiling Tiger want to cry but have no tears. He didn't have any temper at all. "This. Actually, you don't have to pay anything. How about you give me a copy of the information you just read and this second-grade cauldron will belong to you. How about it?" Right Coiling Tiger raised the second-grade cauldron in his hand and tempted her. "This is a second-grade cauldron. I won't give you a copy," Han Jingjing said directly. Right Coiling Tiger realized that his words just now were equivalent to saying nothing. His rich expression was also very rich. Han Jingjing didn't have any intention of coveting this second-grade cauldron at all. After thinking about it, Right Coiling Tiger asked, "How about this, you tell me what you need. What do you want?" "What do I want?" Han Jingjing thought about it and said, "I already have a second-grade cauldron. You giving it to me won't be of much use. It's just a backup. If you have a third-grade cauldron, you can also give me one." Chapter 2547. Third-grade medicinal cauldron. Right Coiling Tiger said in his heart. "Here it comes. Can you refine a third-grade medicinal pill? You want a third-grade medicinal cauldron?" However, he just thought about it in his heart. Naturally, he couldn't say it out loud. If he said it, wouldn't it be looking down on Han Jingjing? At that time, Han Jingjing would definitely not exchange with him. You also know that a third-grade medicinal cauldron is very precious. Our Hidden You family doesn't have much in stock. Moreover, we don't have any more now. The next batch hasn't been cast yet, so, then we will talk about it after you cast it. Han Jingjing wasn't a fool. She had already learned about the differences between first-grade, second-grade, and third-grade medicinal cauldrons from Lin Yi's information. First-grade and second-grade medicinal cauldrons could be made by a third-grade alchemist. As long as one used alchemy fire, it could be completed. There was no casting process. However, a third-grade medicinal cauldron was different. It must be cast by a blacksmith. In this era, blacksmiths had long disappeared. Therefore, in theory, it was impossible to cast a third-grade medicinal cauldron. The existing third-grade medicinal cauldrons were passed down from the past. In fact, for a medicinal cauldron, it was possible that a first-grade and second-grade medicinal cauldron was easily damaged. After all, it was the work of an alchemist. There was no casting process, so it was reasonable that it wasn't strong. However, a third-grade medicinal cauldron was basically undamaged. As long as it wasn't a heaven-defying medicinal pill, using a third-grade medicinal cauldron to refine a fourth-grade medicinal pill, the medicinal cauldron wouldn't be damaged. As for what Right Coiling Tiger said about the next batch not being cast yet, it was complete nonsense. However, Han Jingjing didn't expose it. She didn't want Right Coiling Tiger to see how much she knew about alchemy. That still needs a long time. Right Coiling Tiger quickly said, "How about this? Although I don't have a third-grade medicinal cauldron here, I have some materials for casting a third-grade medicinal cauldron. How about I give you some materials and you let Lin Yi cast it?" "Oh." Han Jingjing nodded after listening. "Is it free?" "Of course not. As long as you give me a copy of the materials that Lin Yi gave you, it will be fine." Right Coiling Tiger said. "That won't do. I don't want it," Han Jingjing said resolutely. Yu Panhu was about to cry. He had wasted so much time and effort, but Han Jingjing's one sentence had returned everything back to square one. "Then how can I make a copy?" "Just say it. What else do you have? Just say it." Han Jingjing turned the topic back to Tiger Yu. Right Coiling Tiger hesitated for a moment, then said, "All right, to be honest, I can give you a second-grade medicine cauldron, a third-grade medicine cauldron casting materials, and some third-grade medicine pill materials. How about it? Is this enough?" "That's it?" Han Jingjing asked. "That's right. Isn't this enough?" Right Coiling Tiger suddenly revealed all his trump cards, feeling a little discouraged. "I don't know. When Brother Lin Yi comes back, I'll ask him for you," Han Jingjing said. "What? You still have to ask Lin Yi?" When Right Coiling Tiger heard Han Jingjing's words, it was as if he had been struck by lightning. He suddenly felt exhausted. He had said so much for nothing. He thought he could fool Han Jingjing, but in the end, Han Jingjing still had to ask Lin Yi. "That's right. This information belongs to Brother Lin Yi. If you want to make a copy, you naturally have to ask Brother Lin Yi," Han Jingjing said matter-of-factly. "Isn't the information in your hands now? If you secretly make a copy for me, then you can get these good things. Think about it, it's worth it. If I were you, I would agree." Right Coiling Tiger didn't want Han Jingjing to ask Lin Yi again. He wanted to bypass Lin Yi. Otherwise, if he asked Lin Yi and Lin Yi asked for the Qi Gathering Pill, where would Right Coiling Tiger find it for him? That won't do. Jing won't lie. Han Jingjing shook her head. Stubborn. Right Coiling Tiger cursed in his heart, but he didn't dare to say anything on the surface. He only said, "All right then, when Lin Yi comes back, you can ask him if these things are okay." He originally wanted to cut the Gordian knot with a knife and directly report a bunch of benefits to knock Han Jingjing out. While Lin Yi wasn't here, it seemed that Right Coiling Tiger was too idealistic. Han Jingjing didn't want to do underground transactions behind Lin Yi's back. Right Coiling Tiger left. Han Jingjing smiled slightly. Right Coiling Tiger's trump card had been tested by her. After Lin Yi came back, all she had to do was continue to add chips on these things. It would also save her the trouble of negotiating. Lin Yi drove to Songshan's orphanage. The orphanage now could be said to be different from before. Bright buildings rose from the ground, and the orphans lived in spacious and clean dorms. There were also more orphans of suitable age who could enter school, but at the same time, trouble came. Because of the expansion of the orphanage, the good environment attracted more abandoned babies. Many of the abandoned babies that the hospital didn't know how to deal with were all sent to Xiaoka's orphanage. Of course, it would be easy if these abandoned babies were healthy, but the problem was that most of these abandoned babies had congenital diseases. Needless to say, living expenses were naturally high, but the treatment fees were astronomical. With Xiaoka's personality, there was no reason for her to reject these orphans. So, this situation made Xiaoka, who had just gotten a breather, carry a heavy burden on her back again. Otherwise, with her previous savings and Fatty Lie's sponsorship, she could totally let the orphans live a good life. But now, it wasn't possible. There were more and more orphans, and she had to hire more and more employees. These people were different from the volunteers in the orphanage. These people had to support their families, and they couldn't work for free. Xiaoka had to bear a large amount of expenses, and seeing that it was almost the end of the month, Fatty Lie went abroad for business. Naturally, Xiaoka was worried about how she could cash in such a large amount of Swiss francs. She couldn't pay these employees in Swiss francs, could she? Xiaoka sis, someone's here to help you. Xiao Ken saw Lin Yi's car and happily went to inform Xiaoka. Someone's here to help me. Who? Xiaoka looked at the excited Xiao Ken, slightly taken aback. Lin Yi bro is here. He'll definitely help you. Xiao Ken said. Lin Yi? Why is he here? Xiaoka's expression changed slightly. She frowned and looked at Xiao Ken. Xiao Ken, did you tell Lin Yi about me? Chapter 25:48. Then how did he get here? Xiaoka's face turned even uglier. Only Xiao Ken and the dean knew that she brought back a box of Swiss francs from the practitioner's market. The other workers in the orphanage didn't know about it, so how did Lin Yi know about it? Xiaoka's face darkened even more. Although Lin Yi had a lot of information channels, why would Lin Yi pay attention to her if he had nothing to do? Could it be, Xiaoka had once suspected that Lin Yi was interested in her, but Lin Yi denied it, which made Xiaoka feel a little relieved. But no matter what, Xiaoka still felt uneasy. After all, Lin Yi wasn't someone she had a lot of contact with, and Lin Yi didn't look like someone who liked to meddle in other people's business. Why would he help her? What reason would he have to help the orphanage? And why would he go to such great lengths? His pharmaceutical company must have invested a lot of money into it, right? And he didn't ask for anything in return. Why? Xiaoka couldn't think of any reason for Lin Yi to do this. What was the value of this orphanage? There were many people who did good deeds. Even if Lin Yi was doing good, there was no need for him to do this, right? Lin Yi wasn't doing a good deed anymore, he was doing everything he could. And Lin Yi suddenly appeared, saying that he was here to help her solve her problem. This made Xiaoka worry even more. If Lin Yi didn't pay attention to her, how would he know that she needed Swiss francs? It seemed like Lin Yi had been paying attention to her. Unless Lin Yi had sent people to follow her, and knew that she had been going to the bank and the black market every day to find out how to exchange money. But since Lin Yi was here, Xiaoka had no reason to reject him. Lin Yi was here to help her, and no matter what his purpose was, if Lin Yi could really help her exchange money, it would solve a lot of Xiaoka's problems. I don't know either. Sister Xiaoka, why do you look so pale? Xiao Ken smiled bitterly in his heart. If you knew that big brother Lin Yi is a male thief, I'm afraid you would have already rushed out, right? However, Xiao Ken couldn't get involved in this kind of thing. It's fine, let's go. Xiaoka sighed and left the room with Xiao Ken. Coming to the guest room downstairs, Xiaoka saw Lin Yi drinking tea on the sofa and chatting with the dean of the orphanage. The dean had a smile on her face and nodded from time to time. It seemed like she had a good impression of Lin Yi. Lin Yi, you're here. Xiaoka's attitude wasn't cold, but it wasn't friendly either. Xiaoku, it's very troublesome to exchange those foreign currencies, right? Let me exchange it for you. Lin Yi said straightforwardly. After coming to the orphanage, he still had to go to school to visit Ziyu and Qin Shi, so time was tight. And, how did you know I had foreign currency to exchange? Xiaoka asked casually. Lin Yi was about to say that Xiao Ken told him, but he saw Xiao Ken standing behind Xiaoka and giving Lin Yi a look. Lin Yi paused and smiled bitterly. I heard it from someone else. Someone else? Xiaoka frowned. As expected, if he didn't keep an eye on her, how would he know that she needed to exchange foreign currencies? Alright, let's not talk about this. I'll make a call first. Lin Yi didn't want to sell Xiao Ken out and changed the topic. He took out his phone and called Pingzhan. Lin Yi's actions, on the other hand, looked like a guilty conscience in Xiaoka's eyes. Avoiding the question meant that he was keeping an eye on her and refusing to admit it. Xiaoka didn't know what to do. What should she do? If she rejected Lin Yi and Lin Yi stopped funding the orphanage, what would she do? What would she do if he asked for her money back? Xiaoka fell into a dilemma. She knew that Lin Yi might be interested in her, but she couldn't turn back now. Once she went against Lin Yi, it wouldn't just be her problem, it would affect all the children in the orphanage. Did she want all the children to live on the streets? Xiaoka was scared just thinking about it, and so, Xiaoka had no choice but to nod dejectedly. All right, thank you. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't notice the change in Xiaoka's facial expression. He thought that it was because she couldn't exchange the money out. He didn't think too much about it and turned to Pingzhan after the call connected. Uncle Chu, do you have time now? Now? Yeah, what's up, Yi? Pingzhan asked. It's like this, my friend has a lot of Swiss franc that he wants to exchange, but the amount is a bit large. Do you have a way? Lin Yi asked. That's easy, just ask your friend to come to me directly. But I'm in Songshan right now, can your friend come over? Pingzhan asked. Uncle Chu, I'm in Songshan right now, I'm in the orphanage, you see. Lin Yi said. Alright, I'll ask Faubert to come find you, and he'll help you with the exchange, Pingzhan said. Alright, thank you, Uncle Chu. Lin Yi hung up and turned to Xiaoka. Alright, one of my elders will be here soon, he can help with the exchange. Oh. Xiaoka nodded. Although the problem was solved, she couldn't feel happy. She couldn't understand why Lin Yi would help her like this. If he didn't like her, then what was it? But what if Lin Yi liked her? What should she do? She didn't want to do anything to betray the male thief, and she didn't want the orphanage to be destroyed. She was in a dilemma, and naturally, there wasn't any joy in solving the problem. Xiaoka, what's wrong? Why do you look so worried? What's the problem? Tell me and I'll solve it together. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't think much of it. Xiaoka did mention this once, but he treated it as a joke and didn't take it to heart. Plus, Lin Yi's other identity was that of a male thief, so naturally, he would show more concern for Xiaoka. Xiaoka, on the other hand, didn't think the same. The more Lin Yi treated her well, the more he wanted to help her solve her problems, the more she felt that Lin Yi was doing this for no reason. She said coldly, "No, thank you." Xiaoka, why are you talking to Lin Yi like that? The dean frowned. Chapter 2549. The dean didn't know about Xiaoka's cunning thoughts, and seeing that her tone wasn't good, she scolded, Lin Yi is here to help us solve our problem, why do you have such a gloomy face? Xiaoka couldn't say it out loud in front of Lin Yi, and she didn't want to tell the dean about it. She was afraid that the dean would be worried. Lin Yi, the children of the orphanage and I are very grateful for your help. I thank you on behalf of the orphanage for everything you have done for us. Xiaoka said on behalf of the orphanage without hesitation. What she meant was that she was thanking him because of the orphanage, and she was only representing the orphanage. It was impossible for her to be thanking him personally. Lin Yi didn't want her to thank him personally. Lin Yi thought that Xiaoka was emotionally unstable because of her period, and he didn't think much about it. He wasn't a male thief anymore, and there was no need for Xiaoka to be nice to him. Lin Yi didn't mind, and smiled, I was just helping out along the way, it's nothing much. Oh. Xiaoka heard Lin Yi say that, but she didn't really believe it. Along the way. You came all the way from Donghai to Songshan, and it was just along the way. Even if Xiaoka was an idiot, she wouldn't believe it, right? Plus, Xiaoka wasn't an idiot. Lin Yi saw that Xiaoka didn't seem to want to talk, so he didn't say anything. Only the headmaster of the orphanage frowned, not knowing what was wrong with Xiaoka today. Usually, when people came to donate, even if it was only 100 or 80 kwai, Xiaoka would welcome them with a smile, but today, Lin Yi was helping her solve such a big problem, and she was like this. After a while, Faubert drove to the orphanage. Faubert was very grateful to Lin Yi now, and if it wasn't for Lin Yi's insistence on treating Faubert like a junior, Faubert would want to talk to Lin Yi as an equal. Thank you, Uncle Li. Xiaoka knew who Faubert was, but she wasn't too familiar with him. She gave the Swiss francs to Faubert and thanked him politely. Her attitude towards Lin Yi was very different, and it made Lin Yi very puzzled. Why did Xiaoka's attitude change so suddenly? After dealing with the orphanage, Lin Yi didn't stay any longer. He looked at the time, and it wasn't time for Ziyu and Chen Shi to finish school yet, so he drove directly to Fatty Lai's medical company. The orphanage and Miracle Dr. Guan's new building weren't far from each other. The two were taken at the same time, and the construction started at the same time. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was also, and the Guan's medical company. Now, no matter if people mentioned golden creation or injury medicine, they would first think of Miracle Dr. Guan's products. Dr. Kang was like yesterday's flower, and Dr. Kang's medical company gave up on production. The military products were also stopped because of the weight loss medicine scandal of Dr. Kang's medical company. So Miracle Dr. Kang's medical company had no choice but to shut down after losing all the market. Fortunately, House Kong had a powerful Kong Xiaoming, and they had a good relationship with the hidden House Yu. This way, they could help House Yu sell some low-level pills. These pills had a lot of recognition in the top auction market. For example, a level 1 pill like the Little Rejuvenation Pill. Although it wasn't as effective as the Little Rejuvenation Pill, it was still very effective for normal injuries, especially to speed up the recovery period of patients after surgery. This type of pill was made by the hidden House Yu, and they didn't want to sell it themselves, so they just let House Kong do it for them. Don't look down on these level 1 pills. These things were very valuable. In many cases, a level 1 pill could even be sold at the price of a level 2 pill. The reason was simple. There were a lot of rich people in the common world, but although there was no lack of rich families in the cultivation world, they were all people who knew what was good for them. They wouldn't pay too high a price for these pills. Of course, a large portion of the profits would still be given to the hidden House Yu, and House Kong would only get a small portion. But even so, the profits from the auction were enough for House Kong to look down on many companies. It wasn't any less than the previous Dr. Kang's medical company, it might even be more. After all, the cost of auctioning pills was very low, much lower than running a company. Lin Yi parked his car in front of the building of the Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. When he walked into the building, he was stopped by the security guard. "Hello, sir. May I know who you are looking for?" Lin Yi smiled. He remembered the first time he came to Songshan and entered Pingzhan Industries. He encountered a similar situation, but this meant that the Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was much more formal than before. Before, people could enter as they pleased. "Is Kong here?" Lin Yi asked. Fatty Lai went overseas, so he looked for Kong directly. In fact, Lin Yi was also here to see Kong. Ever since graduation, Lin Yi hadn't seen Kong, his best friend, for a long time. Both of them were busy with their own things and didn't have much free time. "You are looking for Vice President Kong. Do you have an appointment?" The security guard heard that Lin Yi was looking for Kong, so he quickly asked. "Appointment?" "No, just inform him," Lin Yi said. "I see. Then how should I address you, sir?" The security guard didn't chase him away directly, so he asked politely. Lin Yi said. "Lin Yi." "Okay." The security guard turned around and went to the front desk to inform Kang's secretary, but halfway there, he suddenly realized something. He turned around and looked at Lin Yi in surprise. "You said your name is Lin Yi?" "Yeah." Lin Yi looked at the security guard, confused. He didn't know what was wrong with him. Why did he suddenly turn around and ask about this? "Mr. Lin, please come in." The security guard quickly made a welcoming gesture and said respectfully, "I'll bring you to Vice President Kong." "Oh. Okay." Lin Yi was confused. "Why didn't you inform him?" "It's like this. In our security regulations, the first rule is that Mr. Lin and Miracle Dr. Guan can enter the company without notifying anyone. This is a rule set by President Lai," the security guard explained. The guard explained. No wonder he felt that Lin Yi's name was familiar. Luckily, he remembered it now. It wasn't his fault that he was slow. Although he didn't come to the company often, he would come once in a while to discuss the future direction of the company with Fatty Lai, so the security guards all knew him. But Lin Yi was different. This was the first time Lin Yi had appeared since the building was completed, so it was normal that the security guards didn't know him. Chapter 2550. "I see," Lin Yi smiled. He didn't expect Fatty Lai to come up with such a rule. They took the elevator upstairs and the security guard personally brought Lin Yi to the vice president's office and knocked on the door for Lin Yi. The person who opened the door was a young, beautiful, and arrogant woman with heavy makeup. Lin Yi frowned. Was this Kang's secretary? "Huh? Why is it a security guard? What's the matter? Why didn't you call to inform us beforehand?" The woman looked at the security guard and Lin Yi and frowned. "You're new, right? Don't you know the rules?" "Secretary Wang, this is Lin Yi, Mr. Lin. Chairman Lai has a rule that allows people to come in without informing us." The security guard explained with a bitter smile. Chairman Lai said to look for Chairman Lai. "This is Vice President Kang's office." The woman was obviously unhappy with the security guard using Chairman Lai's name to suppress people. This surprised Lin Yi. How could this woman be so daring? Could it be that he really had an unclear relationship with Kong? Otherwise, how could she be so arrogant? As if she was the general manager. "Lil Wang, what's going on?" Kang's voice came from the office. "Vice President Kong, someone said that Chairman Lai personally approved him to enter the company at any time." The woman said directly. She didn't seem to have any respect for Kong. This made Lin Yi even more suspicious. "Oh. Kong was slightly surprised. He walked out of the office and saw Lin Yi. The doubt in his heart immediately turned into surprise. He quickly ran over and held Lin Yi's hand. He said excitedly, "Boss, you're here. I didn't expect this. Please come in. Lil Wang, there's nothing else for you to do. You can go now." Oh. The woman nodded and really went into the secretary's office. Lin Yi took a look and saw that the woman's computer was actually playing Plants vs. Zombies. It was even more strange. Usually, a secretary would take the initiative to serve tea when the boss had a guest. This woman, on the other hand, went back to play the game. The security guard wiped the sweat on his forehead and said to Kong, "Vice President Kong, I'll go back first." "Okay, thank you." Kong nodded and said to the security guard, "Are you used to working here?" Lin Yi looked at Kang's attire. It had only been a few months, and Kong was looking more and more like a successful businessman now. He didn't look like a student at all, and Lin Yi was quite gratified by this. It seemed like Kong had chosen the right path back then. "It's not bad. President Lai often travels, so I'm in charge of the company. Although it's busy, it's fulfilling. Boss, thank you for giving me this opportunity," Kong said sincerely. "Hee, let's talk inside." Lin Yi pointed inside the office and said, "Okay, you see, I forgot. Please come in." Kong quickly invited Lin Yi into the office and let Lin Yi sit on the sofa. Then, she turned around and poured water for Lin Yi. This action made Lin Yi even more puzzled. What exactly did a secretary do? How's Xiaofan? Lin Yi couldn't ask directly. Although the relationship between the two was very good, it was too abrupt to ask about the relationship between Kong and the female secretary when they just met. So, Lin Yi changed the way he asked. "She's good." Kong Mingming placed the tea in front of Lin Yi and said, "President Lai also built a high-end community nearby as a staff welfare house. The internal price is relatively low. Xiaofan and I also bought a set, and we're already living together. We're going to hold a banquet next year, and when we're of age, we'll register our marriage." Oh. Lin Yi nodded. It seemed that the relationship between the two was not bad, but this female secretary. Lin Yi thought about it and said, "Other than Xiaofan, you didn't flirt with other women, right? You also know that in your position." It wasn't that Lin Yi was too controlling. If Xiaofan didn't have any opinion, it was their business if Kong wanted to find a lover. Lin Yi really didn't have any opinion. After all, this was other people's housework. But if you want to find someone, you should find a decent one, right? The beauty of the one just now could only be said to be average, and the makeup was really unflattering. This was a company, not a theatrical troupe, and the makeup was really terrible. Moreover, this person's arrogant temper and character also made Lin Yi very dissatisfied. "Boss, what are you talking about? My relationship with Xiaofan is very good. How can I find someone else?" Kong was stunned. He didn't expect Lin Yi to suddenly mention this problem. "To be honest, boss, if it wasn't for your help, I would still be a loser. How could I become the vice president? Xiaofan also followed me from that time. I can't abandon her just because I became rich, right? And Xiaofan is also very powerful now. She even got a CPA, and now she's the company's deputy finance director. If I don't keep a close eye on her, there will be a lot of people pursuing her." Lin Yi nodded and was relieved. Kang's sincerity didn't seem to be a lie, but Lin Yi was even more puzzled, so he couldn't help but say, "Your secretary." After Kong listened to Lin Yi's words, he was stunned at first, and then he understood Lin Yi's meaning. Lin Yi's previous words were probably directed at the female secretary. The female secretary's attitude and way of doing things made Lin Yi think too much. However, Kong did have something difficult to say. He hesitated and smiled bitterly. She is a backdoor entrant. What? Backdoor entrant? Lin Yi was stunned, and then he finally understood why this woman was so badass. It turned out to be a backdoor entrant. However, Lin Yi was puzzled immediately. How big of a backdoor entrant did she have to be able to make her not even put Kong, the vice president, in her eyes? Yeah, she is a backdoor entrant. I can't do anything about it, so I arranged her here to gain experience. Kong shook his head helplessly. Whose backdoor entrant is so powerful? Lin Yi asked. Even a vice president like you can't order her around. This. Kong really couldn't say. This backdoor entrant was arranged by Tang Yun's mother, Wang Yujie. It was a relative of Tang Yun's mother. At that time, with Mrs. Tang's vanity, she bragged in front of her relative that the boss behind the company was her son-in-law. Since this relative was also a vain person, she thought that she was also a relative of the boss behind the scenes, so she looked down on everyone in the company, and even Fatty Lai didn't give a damn. However, Kong couldn't say anything about Tang Yun. This was something Meng Yao and Yushu specifically told him to do. Fortunately, this female secretary didn't know Lin Yi's name, and Mrs. Tang didn't say anything, otherwise, it might really be exposed. What's wrong? Can't say. Lin Yi frowned. Chapter 2551. This. I'm not too sure, it was arranged by Mr. Lai. Kong stuttered. Fatty Lai. Lin Yi was curious. Fatty Lai didn't seem like the type to abuse his power for personal gain. Even if she was his relative, he didn't have to do this, did he? Shaking his head, he said, forget it. Tell Fatty Lai that even if she's a backdoor entrant, put her in a department without a job. This company doesn't need her alone, but forget about the secretary. She's not a secretary, she's more like a manager. This. I'll tell him. Kong smiled bitterly and nodded. Lin Yi didn't dwell on this issue. Since this woman wasn't Kang's lover, it didn't matter. Lin Yi didn't bother with her. The company was so big that it was inevitable to have connections. Fatty Lai wasn't a saint, he couldn't just ignore his friends and family. Lin Yi understood. Let's not talk about this. If there's a chance in the future, let's go to Donghai and have a meal together. Lin Yi said. Yeah, I want to go too, but the company's business is expanding rapidly these days. I don't have any time at all. Kong smiled bitterly. But it'll get better after a while. The phone on Kang's desk rang as they were conversing. Kong picked it up and said a few words before turning to Lin Yi apologetically. I'm sorry, boss, something came up again. There's a client here, inviting me over for tea. Haha, go ahead. You're also working for me, why would I mind? Lin Yi smiled. I don't have anything to do, I just came to see you on the way. Alright, I'll go to Donghai when I'm done here, boss. Kong nodded. Lin Yi and Kong left the company together and separated at the parking lot. Lin Yi looked at the time, there was still some time before school ended, so he drove back to his villa. It had been a while since he went back, and Lin Yi wanted to clean up a bit. It was almost winter break, and Meng Yao and Yushu would probably go back to Songshan. After all, they'd lived here for more than 10 years, and a change of environment wasn't something they could adapt to so quickly. In a high-class room in Songshan Starlight Hotel sat the hidden Zhuang Niaoqiang and Zhuang Niapeo. Brother, did you see it clearly? That girl beside you, she's a good furnace. Zhuang Niapeo's eyes flashed with shock and greed. That's right, it's definitely true. Niao Qiang nodded. I didn't think that we'd get such an unexpected reward this time. The two brothers came to Songshan this time because of House Chen's invitation. Chen Xiaoba had his eyes on Ziyu and wanted to take her back as his wife, but Sihua was controlling him. Xiaoba wasn't satisfied with that, so he called the two brothers from the hidden Zhuang house over to take care of things. No matter how strong Li Sihua was, he was just a dog of House Xiao. The Zhuang brothers were different, however. They had the lowest salary in House Zhuang, second only to the big brother, Zhuang Niadeo. Plus, Zhuang Niadeo was the future head of the house in name, in charge of everything in House Zhuang. To put it bluntly, Zhuang Niaoqiang and Zhuang Niapeo were more important to the hidden house. Zhuang Niadeo wasn't suited for practicing, so he gave it up and went to Donghai Engineering University to study business management. It was actually managing the house as well. Zhuang Niaoqiang and Zhuang Niapeo, on the other hand, trained in combination techniques. Both of them were Earth-class early-phase peak, but their combination attacks could defeat Earth-class mid-phase, even mid-phase peak. Even late-phase Earth-class masters wouldn't be a problem for them. This was also why they dared to say that they were invincible under Sky class at the Hidden House Summit. They were indeed very strong. This time, they came to help Chen Xiaoba. On one hand, the two brothers wanted to thank the Qin family for their contributions to the hidden Zhuang family. On the other hand, they wanted to come out and relax. Previously, during the Hidden Family Summit, the two brothers were too depressed. They wanted to show off their skills, but in the end, they didn't even dare to fight and left the stage. But now that they thought about it, not fighting Lin Yi was the best decision they'd ever made in their lifetimes. If they really did fight Lin Yi, they'd either be crippled or dead. There was no third possibility. In this period of time, House Zhuang had received a lot of news about Lin Yi. Lin Yi had injured the Sky class of the Hidden House Yu, and crippled the Earth class late phase peak of the Hidden House Zhuang. This news touched the nerves of the Hidden House Zhuang. Luckily, they didn't go against Lin Yi, or else they wouldn't even know how they died. House Zhuang was different from the other hidden houses. Elder Zhuang was only an Earth-class late-phase peak, and he couldn't even take one move from Lin Yi. If he went against Lin Yi, he'd be a cripple. So sometimes Zhuang Niapeo and Zhuang Niaoqiang would think that if they didn't get close to Zhang Niapeo and Lin Yi during the Ice Palace test, they wouldn't have to be so careful now. With the protection of a god like Lin Yi, House Zhuang didn't have to worry about the other hidden houses harming them. Even though they invited the two brothers to help Chen Xiaoba, Zhuang Niaoqiang and Zhuang Niapeo didn't want to fight with House Xiao head-on. They wanted to kidnap House Xiao. The reason was that House Xiao had Sky-class masters, but House Zhuang didn't. They had to be careful. But with Lin Yi's protection, things were different. House Han was so weak in the past, but now in Donghai City, House Xiao had no choice but to lower their head. How powerful was that? Of course, everyone knew that this was a fox borrowing the tiger's power. It was all because of Lin Yi. But they were hugging onto Lin Yi's thigh, and no one could do anything about it. House Xiao dared to provoke House Han. If they provoked Lin Yi, then their whole family would be done for. But House Zhuang wanted to go to Lin Yi's side, but they couldn't. They didn't have the opportunity. If they went to Lin Yi and made him their boss, then Lin Yi would think that they had ulterior motives. He might not even accept them. Thus, the hidden Zhuang family was stuck between a rock and a hard place. In the past, the hidden Zhao family and the hidden Han family were at the bottom. After all, the hidden Zhao family didn't have a heaven rank expert. But it was different now, the hidden Zhao family also had a heaven rank expert. Chapter 2552. This time, when Zhuang Niaoqiang went out to investigate, he found out that Ziyu's Qinshi was a good cultivation vessel. Even Lin Yi didn't notice this point, but Zhuang Niaoqiang did. This had to do with the combination practitioner's arts and practitioner's arts. The arts and practitioner's arts were all about the combination of qi, and so there was the issue of the cauldron. I wonder what level this cultivation vessel is at. If Grandpa absorbs her qi, would he be able to break through to sky class? Zhuang Niapeo sighed. Plus, is this Qinshi a natural cultivation vessel or is she someone else's? We need to be clear about this, we don't want to make enemies. Let's do it secretly, no one knows. Even if she's someone else's, we can't let go of this opportunity. Zhuang Niaoqiang said, if Grandpa becomes sky class, how much benefit would it bring to the house? Look at the hidden house Zhao, isn't Elder Zhao so strong after becoming sky class? That's true. Zhuang Niapeo nodded, then second bro, can you tell Grandpa? Okay, I'll call Grandpa now. Zhuang Niapeo said. He and Zhuang Niapeo didn't think about using this cultivation vessel, since it could only be used by one person. If one of them used it, their strength would explode, and that would cause problems with the practitioner's arts and practitioner's arts. Both of them had to be around the same level to use the technique, and if one of them was too strong, it would cause problems. Zhuang Niapeo and Elder Zhuang had been plotting for a long time, and they came to the same conclusion. This was what they had to do. With Elder Zhuang's nod, Zhuang Niapeo and Zhuang Niapeo made their move. Of course, they didn't tell Qin Xiaoba about Qinshi being a cultivation vessel. Xiaoba, I think the girl beside Ziyu isn't bad, too. She's fresh and pretty, too. If you want Ziyu, that girl will belong to us brothers. What do you think? Zhuang Niapeo asked. Of course, it's not a problem. Even if you let Gunslinger enjoy both of them first, it's not a problem. Qin Xiaoba's heart was bleeding when he said this. He had no other choice but to please the two Zhuo brothers. Oh, we don't want the girl you like. Us brothers naturally wouldn't do such a thing. Zhuang Niaoqiang waved his hand and shook his head, we just want the other one. Hee, then this little brother will thank you. Qin Xiaoba felt relieved and said gratefully. These two brothers of the Zhuang family are really not bad. Alright, let's move now, isn't it just a kidnapping? You're the son of an underworld boss, and you're not good enough, you still need us two brothers to do it, it's really useless. Zhuang Niapeo said. Isn't this Zihua Li's territory? I don't have much confidence, but with Gunbro and Gunslinger, there won't be any problems. Qin Xiaoba smiled as he opened the car door and invited Zhuang Niapeo and Zhuang Niaoqiang into his Mercedes-Benz MPV. He then started the car and drove towards Songshan's first high. At this time, Songshan's first school wasn't out yet, so there weren't many cars in front of the school. Qin Xiaoba parked the car in front of the school and went to the guard as promised. Uncle, I'm Ziyu's brother from your school's 5th, can you please call her out? Tell her there's some trouble at home, and it's best if she can bring a friend to help. Qin Xiaoba was dressed like a dog today, looking like a successful, sunny, and handsome man. The guard didn't have his guard up, thinking that Qin Xiaoba really was Ziyu's brother. He nodded quickly. Alright, I'll call her right now. As the guard spoke, he picked up the phone in the guard room and dialed the number of grade 1 class 5's homeroom teacher. He then explained the situation at the school gate to her. Ziyu and Qinshi were people that the principal Ding Binggong personally told them about, so naturally, the homeroom teacher didn't dare neglect them. Hearing that something happened at home, she quickly told Ziyu. Ziyu thought that it was Lin Yi when she heard that her brother was looking for her. She was happy and worried at the same time. Lin Yi said something happened at home. So what exactly happened? And so, Ziyu quickly pulled Qin Shi and ran out of the school. Qin Xiaoba, on the other hand, was already hiding in the MPV, afraid that Ziyu and Qin Shi would see him like this. The reason why he said he was Ziyu's brother was because Zihua said that Ziyu had a brother, and they talked to each other before, so he pretended to be Ziyu's brother. This way, Ziyu wouldn't suspect anything. "Uncle, where's my brother?" Ziyu pulled Qin Shi to the school gates, but didn't see Lin Yi. She asked the guard. "Oh. Your brother, he was here just now. Maybe he got in the car already, it's pretty cold today." The guard didn't think much about it and pointed at the car. "All right, thank you, uncle." Ziyu brought Qin Shi to the car, and because she was in a rush, she didn't think too much and didn't put up any defenses. She was just about to knock on the door when it opened, and Zhuang Niaoqiang struck out with his hand, knocking both Ziyu and Qin Shi out before they could react. Zhuang Niapeo helped to push the two of them into the back seat of the MPV and quickly drove away from the scene. All of this happened in a few seconds. Zhuang Niaoqiang and Zhuang Niapeo were practitioners, and even if Ziyu was a delinquent girl, she wouldn't be a match for them. The guard didn't see this scene, but this scene happened to be seen by Boss Shu, who wasn't far away. Boss Shu's mission was to watch and protect Qin Shi, and he would pretend to be a scavenger around the school every day to protect Qin Shi to and from school. When he saw Zhuang Niaoqiang and Zhuang Niapeo drag Qin Shi into the car, he panicked. But he didn't dare chase after them. Other people might not know Zhuang Niaoqiang and Zhuang Niapeo, but he did. He knew what the disciples of the hidden houses looked like, and he wanted to avoid conflict with them. Boss Shu also knew how strong these two were. They were both Earth class early phase peak, so Boss Shu didn't dare to act rashly. Chapter 2553. Also, he couldn't say the hidden Zhao family's name because Boss Shu wasn't stupid. Zhuang Niaoqiang and Zhuang Niapeo kidnapped Qin Shi. They obviously found out the secret of Qin Shi's body. If he foolishly rushed up and said his name, he was afraid that he would be killed. The two brothers of the hidden Zhuang family would definitely feel that their plan was exposed. Since they couldn't do anything, they could kill Boss Shu, but if they really let Qin Shi go, then they would offend the hidden Zhao family. After pondering for a moment, Boss Shu chased after them, but he took out a super broken phone and dialed Lin Yi's number. Although he was a subordinate of the hidden Zhao family, he was now Lin Yi's lackey. Although the hidden Zhao family was powerful, it wasn't as powerful as Lin Yi. Now that he had established a partnership with Lin Yi, the first thing that Boss Shu naturally wanted to do was to find Lin Yi and let Lin Yi solve this problem. And this problem, only Lin Yi could solve it. Lin Yi hadn't even driven to the villa when the phone rang. Lin Yi picked up the phone. "Hello, I'm Lin Yi." "Mr. Lin." "I'm Boss Shu." Boss Shu said quickly while running. Chapter 2554. Therefore, Lin Yi wasn't in a hurry to let Zhu Laoda make a move. Anyway, with Zhu Laoda following him, there wouldn't be any problems. I understand. Zhu Laoda was actually a ruthless person, but he couldn't be ruthless in front of Lin Yi. Previously, he poisoned Qin Shi's mother and wanted to kill her, which also showed that he was a ruthless person. Lin Yi continued on the highway towards Lin City. Lin City was an abbreviation. The full name of Lin City was Shanlin City. In fact, it meant the city next to Songshan. It was a small county-level city that developed later, so everyone was used to calling it Lin City. Out of the city center, there were fewer cars, and Lin Yi's speed instantly increased. Soon, he was on the highway, heading towards Lin City. Because he had confirmed the identity of the hidden Zhuang brothers, Lin Yi wasn't in a hurry. Since the two of them were in a hurry to go home, they definitely wouldn't harm Qin Shi on the way home. Lin Yi only needed to catch up before they reached home. Finally, on the highway, Lin Yi saw the Mercedes-Benz Viano MPV with the license plate 4321. It seemed like Zhu Lao Da's judgment was right. Lin Yi also slowed down and slowly followed behind the car. Lin Yi didn't want to stop the car in front. Zhuang Niaqiang and Zhuang Niapeo were Earth rank warriors. Even if the car flipped over, they wouldn't be in trouble. But Qin Shi definitely couldn't, so Lin Yi wouldn't do anything dangerous for the time being. However, although Zhuang Niaqiang and Zhuang Niapeo were arrogant, they weren't idiots. There weren't many cars on the highway, and Lin Yi's car had been following behind the Mercedes-Benz MPV, so Zhuang Niapeo, who was driving, quickly realized something was wrong. Looking at the Grand Cherokee in the rearview mirror, Zhuang Niapeo said, "Niapeo, the Grand Cherokee behind us seems to be following us, oh?" Zhuang Niapeo turned his head and looked behind the window. Sure enough, there was a Grand Cherokee not far away, but he wasn't worried and said, "It can't be right. This is a highway, so it's normal for there to be cars behind us. Maybe they're traveling at the same speed as us. Can it be exactly the same?" Zhuang Niaqiang shook his head and said, "I will try to speed up." Previously, Zhuang Niaqiang did not exceed the speed limit and only maintained a normal driving speed. After all, the two of them were not professional drivers and did not usually drive, so their driving skills were not too good. Zhuang Niaqiang increased his speed. Lin Yi didn't intend to hide at all. He had already chased them all the way here. As long as they left the highway, Lin Yi was prepared to take down Zhuang Niaqiang and Zhuang Niapeo. So when Zhuang Niaqiang increased his speed, Lin Yi also increased his speed. He really did catch up. Zhuang Niapeo's face did not look good. Where did this car come from? It didn't appear before, it only appeared on the highway. That's not it, there were a lot of cars on the road, so we didn't notice it. Now that there are fewer cars on the highway, we saw it immediately. Zhuang Niaqiang said, "If it's a blessing, then it's not a curse. If it's a curse, then we can't avoid it. Let's stop the car and take a look." Zhuang Niapeo nodded in agreement. If the people behind had bad intentions, then they wouldn't be able to avoid it. So stopping the car and taking care of it as soon as possible was the right thing to do. As long as it wasn't an expert, Zhuang Niaqiang and Zhuang Niapeo working together shouldn't be a problem. The key was that they were afraid that the car behind them would suddenly drive over and force them to stop. Zhuang Niaqiang's driving skills were very average. If he lost control and the car flipped over, they would be fine, but Qin Shi would be in danger. They didn't want to destroy this rare furnace. Thus, Zhuang Niaqiang began to slow down. The car quickly stopped at the highway's emergency parking lane, and Lin Yi also stopped the car. Zhuang Niaqiang and Zhuang Niapeo wanted to take care of it as soon as possible, so they didn't hold back. They directly got off the car and walked towards Lin Yi's Grand Cherokee. Lin Yi looked at the two aggressive brothers and sneered in his heart. He also opened the car door and got off. Ha! Zhuang Niaqiang and Zhuang Niapeo saw the person who got off the Grand Cherokee and subconsciously stopped. Their faces showed a shocked expression and they wanted to turn around and run. They didn't know how they offended Lin Yi, but if Lin Yi caught up to them, it definitely wouldn't be a good thing. However, running away was just a dream. They hadn't even run yet, and they had already turned around. Thinking about Lin Yi's illustrious reputation, could they outrun Lin Yi? Lin Yi was a master who could even kill a heaven-class master in one hit. Wouldn't dealing with two normal Earth-class masters be a piece of cake? Master Ling. Hello. Long time no see, haha. Zhuang Niaoqiang wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said incoherently. Yeah, Master Ling, what a coincidence, I didn't think we would meet here. Zhuang Niapeo also laughed dryly, but his smile was very ugly. What a coincidence. I purposely followed you guys. Lin Yi said lightly. Followed. Zhuang Niaoqiang's face suddenly changed. He couldn't help but shiver and asked carefully, Master Ling, I don't know how we brothers offended Master Ling, the girl in your car is my god sister. Lin Yi pointed at the Mercedes MPV and said. What? God sister. Zhuang Niapeo almost fainted. He had tried to guess Qin Shi's background, but no matter how much he guessed, he could only think that she was raised by some hidden house. She couldn't be any stronger, so they decided to do this. Once Elder Zhuang reached heaven class, the other hidden houses wouldn't be able to do anything. It was just like the hidden house Xiao swallowed the hidden house Yu's qi gathering pill. But now, they heard that Qin Shi was Lin Yi's god sister. This was too scary. Yeah, god sister. You know what I mean. Lin Yi smiled. Oh my god. This time it was Zhuang Niapeo's turn to faint. He was very scared. Luckily Lin Yi caught up halfway. If he really brought Qin Shi home and Grandpa used her, then wouldn't Lin Yi destroy the hidden house Zhuang? Not to mention his grandfather, who had just advanced to heaven rank. Even the famous heaven rank expert of the Hidden Yu family was crippled by Lin Yi. Moreover, Lin Yi only used one move at that time, so he didn't have any killing intent. Otherwise, he would have died without a doubt. Master Ling, I'm sorry. We didn't know Qin Shi was your sister. If we knew, we wouldn't dare even if we had the guts. Zhuang Niapeo took a deep breath and decided to tell the truth. He didn't want to hide anything. After all, lying to Lin Yi at this time was basically asking for death. Lin Yi wasn't stupid, so how could he be easily tricked? Chapter 2555. Although he didn't manage to kidnap Qin Shi this time, there was a saying, lose at the swings, gain at the mulberry. From Zhuang Niaoqiang's point of view, there was no irreconcilable enmity between the hidden Zhuang family and Lin Yi. If he lowered his stance and admitted his mistake, he could build a relationship with Lin Yi and let Lin Yi become the hidden Zhuang family's backer. That would be much more beneficial than his grandfather becoming a heaven-tier expert. The Han family didn't have a heaven-tier expert, but they were able to fight against the hidden Zhao family. Why? Wasn't it because of Lin Yi? Qin Shi, is she alright? Lin Yi nodded. Zhuang Niaoqiang didn't lie and his attitude wasn't bad, so Lin Yi didn't immediately make things difficult for him. She's fine, Master Ling. I'm sorry, this matter is our fault. Zhuang Niaoqiang said, please give us some face and visit the hidden Zhuang family. Our hidden Zhuang family will definitely show our sincerity and satisfy Master Ling. Go to your house. Lin Yi frowned. Zhuang Niaoqiang's change of attitude was a bit too fast. Lin Yi wasn't used to it. Yes, go to my house. Zhuang Niaoqiang nodded and said, Master Ling, I know you're angry, but this is how the world is. The weak are prey to the strong. This time, Qin Shi has Master Ling's backing. Our hidden Zhuang family will admit defeat and only hope for Master Ling's forgiveness. But in other words, if we kidnapped someone unrelated to Master Ling, would Master Ling care? Oh. Lin Yi had to admit that Zhuang Niaoqiang was right. If the person they kidnapped was someone Lin Yi didn't know, then Lin Yi naturally wouldn't care. Therefore, Zhuang Niaoqiang couldn't say that what Zhuang Niaoqiang did was wrong. It was just like how Lin Yi knew that the Tagan family had a profound chi necklace and wanted to steal it. If Lin Yi wasn't as strong as Tagan Dragon, then Lin Yi definitely wouldn't have succeeded. Instead, he would have lost the two spirit beast cores. However, if Lin Yi was stronger than Tagan Dragon, the outcome would be completely different. Master Ling, don't worry, we won't do anything to Qinshi anymore. Not only will we not do anything to her, we will also protect her. After all, Songshan City is very close to the neighboring city. As long as Master Ling agrees, we will send people to Songshan City. Even if Li Xi hides in House Xiao, they wouldn't dare to make a fart. Oh. Lin Yi squinted his eyes and looked at Zhuang Niaoqiang in surprise. If Zhuang Niaoqiang said that evil wanted to please Lin Yi, then it would be normal. But why did it sound like he wanted to help Lin Yi? Moreover, Zhuang Niaoqiang seemed to have Lin Yi backing him up from behind the scenes to deal with the hidden House Xiao and Sihua. Was Zhuang Niaoqiang just saying it casually, or did he have other intentions? Seeing that Lin Yi was thinking, Zhuang Niaoqiang didn't dare disturb him. He stood at the side respectfully, waiting for Lin Yi's answer. Master Ling, although our hidden house Zhuang isn't as good as the hidden house Pai, with sky-class masters, our hidden house Zhuang is still a bit stronger than the hidden house Han. For example, Chiman Dun Jia. Zhuang Niaoqiang saw that Lin Yi was hesitating. He and his second brother Zhuang Niaoqiang had been working together for many years, so their minds were connected. He immediately understood what his second brother meant. He wanted to get closer to Lin Yi, and this was actually Zhuang Niaoqiang's idea as well. He missed the opportunity back then, and now that he had such a good opportunity, he would regret it if he didn't cherish it. That's right, look at Qinshi, no one can tell that she's a good furnace. Master Ling, you're so awesome, you can even kill a heaven stage expert in a second, but in these unorthodox ways, you still can't compare to us, right? Zhuang Niaoqiang continued, if no one told you that Qinshi was a furnace, would you have been able to guess? Oh, that's true. Lin Yi nodded, then it seems like the hidden house Zhuang has some use. But how do you know about House Pai? Zhuang Niaoqiang's heart skipped a beat, but he still spoke the truth. Master Ling, I won't hide it from you. Actually, after the Hidden Noble House Summit ended, we were a bit envious of the Hidden House Han, and so we paid attention to your matters. The more we paid attention, the more we regretted it. If we could choose again, during the Ice Palace test, we wouldn't have called Zhang Naipeo boss, but you. Yeah, Master Ling, us two brothers have been looking for a chance to defect, but we didn't have the right opportunity. I didn't think that bad things would turn into good things. Zhuang Niaoqiang quickly said. If that's the case, then let's go to your house and have a look. Lin Yi nodded and said faintly. He didn't promise anything, but he didn't reject either. This already made Zhuang Niaoqiang and Zhuang Niapeo very happy. Lin Yi didn't continue to make things difficult for them, but chose to go to their house as a guest. This meant that Lin Yi already had the intention to accept them, so Zhuang Niaoqiang immediately said, Niapeo, you take Master Ling's car, I'll lead the way. Qinshi. Lin Yi pointed at Zhuang Niaoqiang's car and asked. Qinshi, she's fine. Don't worry, Master Ling, Zhuang Niaoqiang said, she just fainted, normally she'll wake up in a few hours. Alright, Lin Yi nodded, but don't call me Master Ling. You guys know my real name. Alright, we'll be like Han Xiaopa and call you boss. Zhuang Niaoqiang smiled and said. Lin Yi smiled faintly and didn't refuse. As for the hidden Zhuang family, if they really wanted to defect, then Lin Yi had no reason to push them out. Also, Lin Yi was currently making arrangements. It could be said that the aristocratic families were basically under Lin Yi's control. Next would be the hidden aristocratic families and normal sections. Only by controlling the hidden aristocratic families and normal sects would Lin Yi be able to face a higher level. These hidden houses and normal sects weren't anything special on their own, but if they were stacked together, their power would be terrifying. At the very least, they would be equivalent to the weakest ancient sect. With these resources, Lin Yi would be able to talk to the ancient powers officially, and he wouldn't be in as much of a mess as before. Of course, the most important thing was that Lin Yi had to deal with these hidden aristocratic families. Only then would Lin Yi be able to focus on breaking through to the ancient level. The ancient level wasn't Lin Yi's final goal. Lin Yi's current goal was to stand higher. The two cars drove towards the neighboring city one after the other. At this time, Boss Shu also sent good news. Chapter 2556. She must have been tricked, and the person who called her out wasn't Lin Yi. The only person she'd been messing with lately was Qin Xiaoba, and the answer was obvious. Ziyu crept up from the bed and walked to the washroom. The door wasn't locked, and Qin Xiaoba didn't even want to lock the door when he showered. Ziyu could vaguely make out the face of the person inside from the crack. It really was Qin Xiaoba. Ziyu's eyes flashed with fierceness. She was a fierce person in the first place, and she didn't even bat an eyelid when she used to chop people up with a knife. She'd learned her lesson now, and it was all because of Lin Yi. But that didn't change the fierceness in her bones. Qin Xiaoba still dared to kidnap her after being warned by Zihua. How dare he? Ziyu had always been a fearless person, and with Lin Yi backing her up, she was even more fearless. Since Qin Xiaoba wasn't being nice, then Ziyu couldn't be blamed for that. Ziyu went back to her room and fell back on the bed, pretending to be unconscious as she waited for Qin Xiaoba. Qin Xiaoba hummed a tune as he took a bubble bath, feeling extremely refreshed. He was about to enjoy a beauty, and he thought to himself, "What's wrong with you, Zihua? You think you're strong? How dare you ruin his plans?" If he couldn't do it in the open, he'd do it in the dark. They were all in the underworld anyway, so he'd just have to suffer in silence. After showering, Qin Xiaoba put on his robe and walked out of the washroom. He saw Ziyu lying on the bed, her body wrapped in tight leather clothing. He couldn't stop drooling as he walked over with a smile. He, little girl, you still can't escape from me, can you? Zihua. What's so great about you? What can you do when I'm playing dirty? Qin Xiaoba mumbled to himself, ready to rip Ziyu's clothes to shreds when something happened. Ziyu, who was unconscious on the bed, jumped up all of a sudden and sent a kick at Qin Xiaoba's pillar supporting the heavens. Ziyu had used all her strength in that kick, and Qin Xiaoba wasn't prepared for it either. He was kicked right into the face by Ziyu. Paw! Qin Xiaoba let out a blood-curdling howl. That howl was even more horrifying than being tortured by the Manchurian Qing dynasty. His howl was extremely miserable. Qin Xiaoba's eyes and mouth were wide open as he knelt on the ground, his face deathly pale, crying for his father and mother. Boss Shu has been squatting on the air conditioner outside the hotel window like a Spider-Man. He was an old man with a dark heart, and he wanted to see how Ziyu would deal with Qin Xiaoba. If Ziyu was in danger, he'd be the first to step in. If she wasn't, he'd let Ziyu do her thing. Boss Shu was on Lin Yi's side now, and Ziyu would be happy if she was happy. Boss Shu's mouth twitched at the sight of Qin Xiaoba's state. He'd cripple Qin Xiaoba with one slap, and that would be worse than this. He'd probably be in a vegetative state for the rest of his life, but he wouldn't be in this much pain. Qin Xiaoba, how dare you? Why don't you ask who I am? My brother is Lin Yi. Ziyu pointed at Qin Xiaoba arrogantly and roared. Chen Xiaoba really didn't know who Lin Yi was, after all. Siwa wouldn't have had to use so much effort to hint him, he could have just said Lin Yi's name. Chen Xiaoba's level was too low, and he didn't know how famous Lin Yi was. Boss Shu's face changed. He had a phobia of Lin Yi right now, and if Ziyu were to shout this in front of the Hidden House's disciples or even the head of the house, no one would dare mess with her. This time, Chen Bawang also came. Just now, he was the one who personally drove the car to greet Chen Xiaoba. However, he was a bit depressed. Originally, he wanted to take this opportunity to build a good relationship with the two brothers of the Zhuang family and treat them to a meal. But he didn't expect that the two brothers of the Zhuang family would drive away, making Chen Bawang's trip a waste. But since he was here, Chen Bawang wasn't in a rush to go back. He waited in the room next door for Chen Xiaoba to finish playing with Chen Shi, and then they'd go back together. Chen Bawang was resting when a heart-wrenching scream came from the room next door, scaring him. Wasn't that his son Chen Xiaoba's voice? Chen Bawang immediately became anxious. He got up from the bed and ran out of the room. He kicked open the door of the next room and saw his son rolling on the ground while covering his crotch. "Xiaoba, are you okay?" Chen Bawang panicked seeing his son in this state. "Dad. I'm done. Ouch." Chen Xiaoba couldn't even finish his sentence, rolling on the floor in pain. Perhaps he saw his savior, but his eyes rolled back and he fainted. "Little bitch, what did you do to my son? I'm going to kill you." Chen Bawang didn't need to guess to know what was going on. His son must have pushed Ziyu, and she fought back, kicking Chen Xiaoba in the crotch. So Chen Bawang didn't bother asking and pulled out his gun, aiming it at Ziyu. He wasn't a Jianghu, and a gun was the strongest weapon in his hands. Boss Shu was just watching the show, letting Ziyu have some fun, but seeing Chen Bawang pull out his gun, Boss Shu panicked. Ziyu wasn't a Jianghu, how could she dodge a gun? Boss Shu directly broke through the window and slapped Overlord Chen's arm that was holding the gun. His arm was smashed into pieces and the pistol fell to the ground. Who are you?" Chen Bawang did not expect that someone would come in through the window. Although his arm was in pain, he still asked in shock. He was an ambitious person. Although his arm was in pain, it was impossible for him to toss and turn like Chen Xiaoba. "Her brother sent me." Boss Shu pointed at Ziyu. "Grandpa Zhu." Ziyu knew Boss Shu, too. She was close to Chen Shi, and naturally saw Boss Shu a lot. Hearing that Boss Shu was sent by Lin Yi, she was happy but worried. "Lil, she was kidnapped too, how is she?" "Don't worry, Miss Ng. Mr. Lin went to save Lil, she himself." Boss Shu usually called Ziyu Ziyu, but now that his identity was out in the open, he couldn't do that anymore. Chapter 2557. Lin Yi bro went to save Lil Shi. Ziyu breathed out in relief. She was happy for Chen Shi, but at the same time, she was a little disappointed. Chen Shi liked Lin Yi, but she liked him as well. Ever since the first day Lin Yi brought her to do hairstyling, Ziyu started to like Lin Yi, bit by bit. But her liking was subtle, and by the time she realized it, Chen Shi had already expressed her feelings for Lin Yi. Ziyu couldn't fight for a man with her sister that didn't fit her big sister character, so she could only keep it to herself. She often helped Chen Shi with her plans, but wasn't that what she wanted as well? She was using Chen Shi to make it happen. "Old thing, you're treating me like I don't exist, are you?" Chen Bawang heard Boss Shu and Ziyu talking like there was no one else around, and he was a king of the underworld, a boss of the underworld. How could he feel good being ignored like this? Humph, a small shrimp dares to talk big in front of a cultivator? Boss Shu smiled coldly and slapped him. I won't take your life, I'll leave your life to Mr. Lin to decide. Cultivator. Chen Bawang was shocked, and this was his last thought before he fainted. His backing was the hidden house Zhuang, and he naturally knew who cultivators were. He knew how strong they were, but he never would have thought that this old man was a cultivator. Which force was he from? But Chen Bawang didn't have time to think about it and fainted. Boss Shu called Lin Yi at that moment. Mr. Lin, Miss Ying's fine, she's fine. Chen Xiaobao's balls were crushed by Miss Ying, and Chen Bawang wanted to use a gun, but I broke his meridians and bones, turning him into a cripple. Well done. I'm heading to the hidden house Zhuang now, bring them with you. Lin Yi breathed out in relief. He knew that Ziyu wouldn't be in any trouble with Boss Shu following her, but it was still a huge weight lifted off his shoulders. Hidden Zhuang family. Boss Shu paused. Mr. Lin, haven't you settled your things? Are we going to kill our way into the hidden Zhuang clan? With this thought, Boss Shu became excited. Is Lin Yi going to massacre the hidden Zhuang family? That would definitely be very hot-blooded. However, with his strength, would he be sending himself to his death by following beside Lin Yi? Kill what kill? Lin Yi smiled. The hidden Zhuang family seems to want to get close to me. I'll go take a look first. Ah. They want to. Zhu Boss wasn't stupid. Hearing Lin Yi's words, he immediately understood. Hidden Zhuang family wanted to recognize Lin Yi as their boss. Thinking about this, Boss Shu felt bitter. Why did Hidden House Han, Hidden House Pai, and even Hidden House Zhuang know that joining Lin Yi was their only way out? But why did Hidden House Xiao want to die? What good was there in going against Lin Yi? When Lin Yi got angry, he'd just destroy the entire Hidden House Xiao. Boss Shu felt a bit wronged. They were joining Lin Yi's side, so it was natural for their people to work with Lin Yi. But he had to do it sneakily. What the hell was going on? Ha, don't be upset. Lin Yi could tell that Boss Shu was upset. He smiled. House Xiao, don't they still have Zhao Qikuan? Oh. Boss Shu's eyes lit up. That's right, they still had Zhao Qikuan. Why didn't he think of this before? If Qikuan died in the Sky Elixir School's test, then everything would be over. But what if he didn't die? With Lin Yi's support, Zhao Qikuan wouldn't be able to do anything, would he? At that time, Hidden House Xiao would turn the sky upside down. They might even split apart. I'll go right now. Boss Shu took a deep breath and made his choice. He didn't have a choice, actually. He didn't want to die, so he could only become Lin Yi's follower. With Ziyu and Chen Xiaoba and Chen Bawang in his hands, Boss Shu got in the car they were in before and sped towards the city. Lin Yi followed Zhuang Niaoqiang off the highway and got on a very smooth road. This road had a toll booth as well, but it wasn't open to the public. It only checked the cars coming and going from Hidden House Zhuang. With Zhuang Niaoqiang leading the way, and Zhuang Niapeo sitting on the side, the two cars entered the road without any obstructions. They soon arrived at a manor. The environment here was pretty much the same as Hidden House Xiao and House Han. It seemed like the hidden houses all had similar styles. Grandpa Zhuang, who had received Zhuang Niaoqiang's call, was already waiting at the entrance of the manor. In front of Lin Yi, there was nothing he could do. He was just an Earth-class late-phase peak master, while Lin Yi was a mid-phase peak Earth-class mid-phase peak. His real strength was enough to kill Sky-class masters. In front of him, Lin Yi was like a senior. The two cars stopped in front of the manor, and Elder Zhua ignored Zhua Niaoqiang as he walked up to Lin Yi's jeep with a smile. He opened the door for Lin Yi respectfully. Welcome, Elder Lin. Your presence brings light to our humble abode, we welcome you with open arms. Once upon a time, Elder Zhuang was very against Lin Yi at the Hidden House Summit, but things had changed. After knowing Lin Yi's ability to kill Sky-class masters, he adjusted his attitude, changing from being against him to fear and respect. Now, Hidden House Zhuang might become Lin Yi's follower. With such a great opportunity, Elder Zhuang was even more cautious, not daring to make any mistakes. "Ha, you're too polite, Elder Zhuang." Lin Yi smiled faintly and accepted the title of senior. Back in the cultivator's market, third brother of the right had already called him senior, so Lin Yi was used to it. "Senior Lin, please." The more indifferent Lin Yi was, the more Elder Zhuang felt that Lin Yi was amazing. As the saying goes, if Lin Yi wasn't amazing, how could he have such a demeanor? "Wait, let me take a look at my sister first." Lin Yi waved his hand and walked to Zhuang Miaoqiang's Mercedes-Benz MPV. He carried Qin Shi from the back seat. Although Lin Yi already knew that Qin Shi was fine, and Zhuang Niapeo and Zhuang Miaoqiang wouldn't lie to him, but after a careful examination, he found that Qin Shi really just fainted. Chapter 2558. I'm really sorry about this. We didn't know that Miss Qin Shi is Senior Lin's godsister. If we had known, we wouldn't have dared to do this even if we had the support of an ancient sect. Elder Zhuang's words sounded nice. What he meant was that Lin Yi was very powerful. Even if he had the support of an ancient sect, he wouldn't have dared to do this. It's fine. It's not your fault for not knowing. Lin Yi didn't want to pursue this matter any further. He couldn't say that the hidden Zhuang family was in the wrong. It was just that they didn't have the same information. If they knew Qin Shi's background, they definitely wouldn't have done this. Lin Yi followed Elder Zhuang into the Zhuang family's manor. Zhuang Niapeo and Zhuang Miaoqiang didn't dare to walk beside Lin Yi. Elder Zhuang treated Lin Yi like a VIP and went straight to the most luxurious reception room of the hidden Zhuang family. This place was usually used to receive the heads of other hidden families and people from the ancient sections. Now that it was used to receive Lin Yi, it showed how much importance the Zhuang family placed on Lin Yi. "Senior Lin, this is actually a misunderstanding. We, the hidden Zhuang family, want to use this opportunity to bury the hatchet. I wonder if Senior Lin can accept us." Elder Zhuang understood Lin Yi's personality a little. He knew that Lin Yi liked to go straight to the point, and didn't like to beat around the bush. He didn't bother with the pleasantries and just expressed his intention of defecting. "Ha!" Lin Yi smiled. "What can you offer?" "I'll accept your Zhuang family as my underlings. If something happens to you, I'll have to help you settle it. We, the Zhuang family, will naturally follow Senior Lin's lead. Of course, in order to express our sincerity, we will offer all the good things of our Zhuang family for Senior Lin to choose." Elder Zhuang said seriously. "Oh." After hearing Elder Zhuang's words, Lin Yi was a bit surprised. He didn't expect that Elder Zhuang could offer such an attractive condition, which was exactly the same as the hidden Han family. One had to know that even though the hidden Han clan had pledged allegiance to Lin Yi, they had no choice but to take out all of their treasures for Lin Yi to choose from. However, the hidden Zhuang clan was different. They had only offended Lin Yi and kidnapped Qin Shi. All they had to do now was take out one or two valuable treasures and the matter would be resolved. However, the hidden Zhuang family had directly revealed their trump card. From the looks of it, they were eager to surrender and had no intention of bargaining with Lin Yi. "Then let's go take a look." Lin Yi nodded, accepting the hidden Zhuang family in his heart. Lin Yi was a straightforward person, and he liked people who did things in a straightforward manner. If they hid things, Lin Yi wouldn't have bothered to deal with them. On the contrary, Lin Yi approved of the hidden Zhuang family's way of doing things. "Senior Lin, please." Grandpa Zhuang heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. Since Lin Yi said this, then the hidden Zhuang family's acceptance was already set in stone. Unless Lin Yi went back on his words, or the treasures in the vault were too bad, Lin Yi wouldn't be interested in them. "The vault is in the manor, in the basement of my courtyard." Zhuang Niapeo and Zhuang Niaoqiang's eyes lit up. Both of them had never been to their family's vault before. Thanks to Lin Yi, they were able to go in and take a look. Lin Yi carried Qin Shi on his shoulder and didn't wake her up. He could tell that Qin Shi didn't have enough sleep. Lin Yi wanted to take this opportunity to let Qin Shi sleep a little longer. This girl was also very hard-working. Other than studying, she also had to go scavenge for the family. The design of the vault was almost the same as the hidden Han families. Lin Yi even suspected that they had a telepathic connection and found the same designer. In short, the situation was almost the same. After Grandpa Zhuang verified the fingerprint and password, the door of the vault opened. "Niapeo, Niaoqiang, what I'm going to say now, don't spread it around. Even your father, I, have never said these words." Grandpa Zhuang said, "This is the core secret of our hidden Zhuang family. It's only passed down from generation to generation. But now that our hidden Zhuang family has submitted to Senior Lin, we naturally can't hide this from Senior Lin." "Yes, Grandpa, we won't say anything." Zhuang Niapeo and Zhuang Niaoqiang quickly promised. Lin Yi was a little surprised. What secret did this hidden Zhuang family have that even Zhuang Niapeo and Zhuang Niaoqiang didn't know about it? "Senior Lin, actually, the ancestors of our hidden Zhuang family originated from the Everyday and Everyday sect. Our ancestor was a disciple of the Everyday and Everyday sect, but he had a falling out with the sect leader at that time, so he left the sect and established his own sect. Although the hidden Zhuang family flourished for a while and was as powerful as the ancient times, we, the younger generation, didn't have any outstanding talents. Until now, we were only classified as a hidden family. But now, this matter has passed for a long time, even the Everyday and Everyday sect itself doesn't know about this. We also don't dare to announce that our cultivation technique came from the Everyday and Everyday sect. Not only will it attract the hostility of some righteous sects, we're also afraid that the Everyday and Everyday sect will come and ask us for the things our ancestor took away." Grandpa Zhuang explained in one breath. "So, you're a branch of the Everyday and Everyday sect. Seems like you have a great background." Lin Yi was surprised. "I have a grudge with the Everyday and Everyday sect, have you thought about it? We have a grudge with our ancestors. If this matter is spread out, we won't get any benefits." Grandpa Zhuang smiled bitterly. "Moreover, even if Senior Lin doesn't mention this, the Everyday and Everyday sect won't care about small fries like us, right?" Lin Yi nodded and said, "Let's see what treasures you have." "Alright, this is the treasury, and that is the scripture pavilion. What does Senior Lin want to see first?" Grandpa Zhuang asked. Let's see the treasures first." Lin Yi thought for a moment and said. Lin Yi didn't lack cultivation techniques and martial techniques at the moment, unless they were especially heaven-defying. Therefore, Lin Yi's attention was still on the treasures, to see if there was anything he needed. "Here it is." Grandpa Zhuang led Lin Yi into one of the rooms and pointed to a row of shelves in front of them. "These are the treasures of our hidden Zhuang family for many years." Chapter 2559. But what was good in the eyes of the hidden house Zhuang was just a so-so in Lin Yi's eyes. They were all things that Lin Yi didn't care about at the hidden house's summit. He didn't even have as many things as the hidden house Hans. Seeing the disappointment in Lin Yi's eyes, old Master Zhuang's heart tightened. He remembered that Lin Yi had also won a lot of things in the hidden family summit. Most importantly, Lin Yi had been to the hidden Han family before. It was said that the hidden Han family had found an ancient relic. In that case, the hidden Han family must have more good things than the hidden Zhuang family. It was normal for Lin Yi to be disappointed. Qianbei Lin, I'm afraid that you don't like these things, but they are the collection of our hidden Zhuang family for many years. Master Zhu said with a wry smile, the materials of these two qi gathering pills are the most valuable among them. However, we don't have a third-grade alchemist in our clan, so we can't refine third-grade pills. The materials of these qi gathering pills have been preserved for thousands of years, so they don't have much value. Master Zhu said as he pointed at a box on a shelf. Oh. Materials for qi gathering pills. Lin Yi was surprised. He didn't expect that the hidden Zhuang family also had this thing. Yes, this is my ancestor Tsongming. I got it from the Yi school. But there are too few third-grade alchemists, and the Heavenly Elixirs sect won't help us, so it has been left here. Old Master Zhuang introduced, could it be that Mr. Lin is interested in the materials for qi gathering pills? Master Zhuang was a bit surprised. Although the material of gathering qi pill was good, it felt a bit useless. It was tasteless, but it was a pity to throw it away. It had been here for thousands of years, but it was useless. Master Zhuang's ancestors couldn't find an alchemist, so Master Zhuang didn't think that he could find an alchemist to refine it now. So he didn't have any interest in them at all. But in his opinion, Lin Yi was probably the same as when he first found out about them. At that time, old Master Zhuang was also full of confidence. But after a long time, he realized that thinking too much would only increase his worries. That's right, I'm interested in the materials for this qi gathering pill. Lin Yi nodded. Senior Lin, if you like it, you can have it. Elder Zhuang was quite quick-witted. No matter how precious this thing was, it was useless to him. He might as well give it to Lin Yi. Old Master Zhuang is straightforward. Then I won't be pretentious either. When I make the qi gathering pill, I'll need one from you. Lin Yi was quite fond of people like old Zhuo who didn't beat around the bush when it came to doing things. Hee, I'm looking forward to it. Old Master Zhuang laughed. In fact, he didn't think that Lin Yi could become a grade 3 alchemist. It wasn't that he didn't believe in Lin Yi, but Lin Yi couldn't put too much effort into alchemy. Cultivation was the right way. After all, there weren't many alchemists like Heavenly Elixirs sect that concentrated on alchemy. Lin Yi could see that old Zhuo wasn't interested in it, and he understood what he was thinking. If it was that easy to concoct, old Zhuo wouldn't have given him the materials so easily. I won't look at the others. Old Master Zhuang, I just want to ask you, do you have blue crystal, pure topaz or colored steel? Lin Yi roughly glanced at the Zhuang family's treasure vault. Lin Yi didn't bother to look for those things, so he asked directly. Blue crystal, pure topaz, colored steel. Well, I don't have pure topaz, but I do have pure purple jade, is that okay? Old Master Zhuang thought for a moment and asked. Pure purple jade. That won't be necessary. Lin Yi shook his head, there are enough materials for qi gathering pill, that's all. Not going to look at them. Elder Zhu felt a little guilty. The ingredients for the pill were precious, but they were useless to him. Lin Yi might feel like he got a treasure now, but when he went back and realized that he couldn't make the pill, he would feel like he didn't get anything better. Elder Zhu felt like he didn't get anything better. Elder Zhu felt a little guilty. No, let's go to the Sutra Pavilion to look at martial arts and mental cultivation methods. Lin Yi wasn't a greedy man, and since Elder Zhuang was on his side, he could always come and take whatever he needed. He didn't need to empty everything out. That's fine too. Old Master Zhuang didn't really care about martial arts and mental cultivation methods. Although martial arts and mental cultivation methods were not passed on to outsiders, but in his opinion, they were of little value to Lin Yi. Lin Yi was already an Earth-class peak mid-stage master. He definitely wouldn't destroy his own mental cultivation method and start from scratch. Plus, the Zhuang family didn't have external mental cultivation methods, so there was no point for Lin Yi to look at Zhuang family's mental cultivation method. As for martial arts, each martial art had a corresponding mental cultivation method. Not everyone could use it, not to mention martial arts. It was very difficult to understand a martial art. Lin Yi already had a powerful martial art, why would he need to study other people's martial arts? Therefore, in old Master Zhuang's eyes, Lin Yi was only going to look at the Sutra Pavilion. At most, he would make a copy for his collection. But since Lin Yi had requested, he could only follow Lin Yi to the Sutra Pavilion. Zhuang Niaqiang and Zhuang Niapeo were very envious of Lin Yi's qi-gathering pill refining materials. These were qi-gathering pills. If it was successfully refined, then eating it would mean reaching heaven class. They didn't know why their grandfather was so unenthusiastic. The two of them were still too young, and they didn't know much about medicinal pills. That's why they had this idea. But old Master Zhuang was different. He was an old man and didn't have the unrealistic expectations of his youth. Following Lin Yi to the Sutra Pavilion next door, Zhuang Niapeo and Zhuang Niapeo respectfully stood at the side while old Master Zhuang introduced the books in the Sutra Pavilion. The hidden Zhuang family's Sutra Pavilion had a lot more books than the hidden Han family's. After all, books weren't treasures. Even if they were exchanged with others, they could still be copied and copied. The hidden Zhuang family had a long history, so it wasn't strange for them to have a lot of books. So many. All of them are mental cultivation methods and martial arts. Lin Yi asked. The ones that are useful are actually the few books on this shelf. These books are all useless martial techniques and mental cultivation methods, just for show. Old Master Zhuang revealed a bitter smile and said, most of them were exchanged with others, which were unimportant and useful. Nobody would easily exchange them. Take these books on the shelf as an example, they are the real treasures of our ancestor. Old Master Zhuang regained his sight. Chapter 2560. Oh. Lin Yi casually picked up a book and flipped through it. Sure enough. The content made Lin Yi dumbfounded. Toad Fist, the difficulty level was easy. The first style was equivalent to 1/5 of a normal martial skill's power. Although it was easy to practice, it was useless in Lin Yi's eyes. Lin Yi flipped through another book. It was also similar. Just like what Elder Zhuang said, it was just for show, but had no practical use. Is that so? Elder Zhuang smiled bitterly. Senior Lin, why don't you take a look at these basic martial skills and Heart Sutras? All right. Lin Yi nodded and turned his attention to the other martial arts and practitioners' arts that were placed separately. This is our hidden Zhuang family's Heart Sutras. Our hidden Zhuang family's Heart Sutras are all based on the metal attribute, which focuses on ferociousness and big movements. Old Master Zhuang said, I practice a mental cultivation method that focuses solely on the metal attribute, while Bird Spear Zhuang and Bird Pao Zhuang practice a mental cultivation method that combines the metal attribute. Only when the two of them act together can they release the greatest power, but if they act alone, they will be much weaker. Oh. There's a two-person joint attack Heart Sutras. Lin Yi was a little surprised. He didn't expect this hidden Zhuang family to have such good stuff. Yes, this Heart Sutras is a very mysterious Heart Sutras. It was only passed down in the ancient times. My ancestor happened to get some treasures from the everyday sect, and one of them was this Heart Sutras. Elder Zhuang said. Then this Heart Sutras can make two people's strength superimpose, and become a more powerful combination. Lin Yi understood the meaning of the Heart Sutras. You can say that. Bird Spear and Bird Pow are both at the peak of early Earth class, but if two people use this Heart Sutras at the same time, it will be equivalent to the peak of late Earth class. Combined with the martial skill, it will be even more powerful. Elder Zhuang said. Indeed powerful. Lin Yi was surprised, but this Heart Sutras can only be practiced by two people at the same time. Is there no effect if you cultivate alone? When Lin Yi saw this mental cultivation method, the first thing that came to his mind was whether he could combine with Han Jingjing to refine pills together. If it was possible, the strength of the two of them together, even if it was not heaven stage, it should be more or less the same. After all, Zhuang Niaoqiang and Zhuang Niapeo could reach the peak of Earth stage late stage. That Lin Yi was at the peak of Earth stage mid stage, and Han Jingjing was at the early Earth stage early stage. According to the amount of Jin Qi in their bodies, it should be about the same. Therefore, Lin Yi asked while suppressing the excitement in his heart. If he succeeded, he would be able to refine a third-grade elixir in advance. Not only would he be able to refine the Ice Heart Jade Bone pill that he promised Rock Candy, but there was also hope for the Qi amassing pill. With so many Qi gathering pills, Lin Yi would be able to mass-produce several sky-tier experts. This was also the reason why Lin Yi was so desperate. Once Lin Yi reached heaven rank, he could mass-produce some Earth rank late-phase peak experts. Then, with a Qi amassing pill, they could break through to heaven rank. At that time, Lin Yi would be able to talk to the ancient powerhouses face to face. Just thinking about it made people excited. Although they were all heaven rank initial stage experts, it was still not a small force. At the very least, it was similar to the weakest ancient family or ancient sect. At that time, even Bingtang would not be able to look down on Lin Yi. Lin Yi thought evilly. Only when two people practice it at the same time can their strength be superimposed. If only one person practices it, then the person who practices it will only be able to superimpose half of his strength on another person who has not practiced it before. The power will be greatly reduced, and after the superimposed half of the strength, it will not be able to be taken back. Grandpa Zhua said. Can't be taken back. Then it will be given to another person. Lin Yi asked. No, when you stop practicing the mantra, the qi that was given to the other person will disappear. It will not be absorbed by another person. Grandpa Zhua smiled bitterly and said, this is also the reason why the shotgun and bird cannon are practiced at the same time. If one person practices it alone, there will be too many disadvantages. This mantra is not meant for one person. Is that so? Lin Yi was a little disappointed. If two people practiced it, then he and Han Jingjing would have to practice this mantra at the same time if they wanted to combine their strength. It was a mantra, but it was really difficult to practice a mantra from the beginning. Yes, but Senior Lin, you don't have to worry about this. After all, a practitioner can only practice one mantra. This is an unchangeable rule. Very few practitioners practice two mantras at the same time. Grandpa Zhua said, you can't do two things at the same time. If you want to practice another mantra, you will have to give up the mantra you are practicing now. Furthermore, it might not even succeed. Who knows, you might suffer a double loss and not be able to cultivate at all. So, Senior Lin wouldn't do something like putting the cart before the horse, right? That's true. Lin Yi suddenly recalled that it was true. When he was helping Meng Yao and Chen Jianshu to practice their mantras, he had also looked through a lot of information about practitioners. It was precisely because a practitioner could only practice one mantra that Lin Yi didn't help Meng Yao and Chen Jianshu to choose. After all, it was fine if they chose the right one, but if they chose the wrong one, it would be the same as harming them. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly. It seemed like his idea was good, but it was hard to put it into practice. No matter how good the mantra was, Lin Yi couldn't practice it himself, let alone Han Jingjing. The art of dragon mastery was Lin Yi's trump card. How could he just give it up so easily? That would be a waste of a heavenly treasure. This is a joint attack, and it can be used together with the mantra. It won't be of much use to Senior Lin. It's fine to keep it, but to practice it. Grandpa Zhuot shook his head. Senior Lin should be practicing a fire element martial art, right? As for my martial art, although it's meant for one person, it doesn't suit Senior Lin's mantra, so I don't think you can practice it. Oh, forget it then. Lin Yi waved his hand. I'll make a copy of this mantra and martial art. I don't need the others. All right. Lin Yi wanting to make a copy of the mantra and martial art was not out of Grandpa Zhuo's expectation. Normally, even if practitioners couldn't practice it themselves, they would still like to collect some martial arts and mantras. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.